X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time.
Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. Why do they just in arrogance when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mills, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You'll see now, watch me not now, punch your face now. Show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How are you all today? What is up? I am fresh out of the shower, sitting down here and ready to stream for all you guys. Welcome back. It's good to see ya. What's up, Ectoplasm, Grazitriton, Alex Wooten, Perry Icefire, great to see you. Hit the Mat, how are you doing? Redo, what's up? Summer Star, good to see ya. E-Man, how are ya? Bazooka Horse, what you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Calico Cali, what's up? Cleaver 120, good to see you again. Straw Hat Monty 97, how are you? Good to see ya. What's up? War Penguin, how are you doing? Did you see Dylan Burns put up a video about Nick Fuentes not supporting Trump? I'm pretty sure Nick Fuentes is trolling in the same way that Richard Spencer did during the last election, where Richard Spencer endorsed Biden. So the media would be able to run with this like narrative. Like, oh my god, the Nazi guy likes Biden? What? Oh, Biden must be a Nazi. It's like, ah, yes. Nazis are notably honest about who they support and align with. And they never take part in psyops to confuse the media and try and create a culture war thing where it doesn't exist. They never do that. Ever. Base Dylan, though. What's up, Balth? Good to see ya. How you doing? Yes, E-Man, it does. I'm channeling my inner Jesse Pinkman. Good shit, Balf. How so? Oh, by saying, "Sup, bitch? Hey, yo, Mr. White! Science! Magnets!" Fuentes now hates Sam Hyde, too. Ooh, the infighting. It grows. It grows and it grows. I'm telling you guys, the anti-woke era, it's eating itself alive. It's gonna fall off. It's got an expiration date that's getting closer and closer by the moment. Or minute, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Magnets! Yes, magnets. Guys, I am so excited for Red Dead Redemption 1 on PC. I'm trying to well, obviously I'm going to be streaming Undead Nightmare. I think I'll just play normal Red Dead 1 off stream, because it's such a big game. It's like, gosh, I need to keep the hair out of my face. It keeps tickling my eyebrows. I think I'll play normal Red Dead 1 off stream, because it's such a big game with so much side content to do. And it's the kind of thing I want to get lost in again, you know? But in regards to Undead Nightmare, I'm going to stream that probably for a few, like, definitely the night it comes out and Halloween. Like, oh man, it's going to be fun. I'm approaching the end of FF16. I've got all 7 icons, just doing all the side quests and DLC before going back to my origin. Nice, though be careful with the spoilers in chat, because it just came out on PC not long ago, and some people might not know there's 7 icons, you know? Like, I've been watching Ethan's playthrough, and when he realized that you were able to get multiple iconic powers, he was like, wait, no fucking way. I have Garuda's power now? No fucking way. This might be the best action game there is. And I was like, yeah, this shit goes hard. It was fun. Stream time! Welcome, Ashroom. Good to see ya. How you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome. By the way, what's everyone drinking today? I always like to ask this. Today, I'm just having myself some water, and I'm almost out, so I might have to grab myself a water and a Monster before I start the first segment of today. No, Red Dead Redemption is not a good game for background content. Okay, so here's my idea. Oh, now's a good time to talk about this as well. So, me and Ethan have a suffering from success kind of problem when it comes to the amount of segments that I've been producing lately. As you know, for a while now, I've had like an insane string of bullshit scatter my life around in such a way where my stream schedule has not been able to be as consistent for as long as I would like it to be. There have been stints where it's pretty on point, but then something always happens, and for a while it was chronic health issues. Not terminal, thank God. But chronic health issues due to long COVID. I was dealing with days where I'd eat my breakfast and I'd be getting ready for work and I'd start to feel nauseous while sitting at the computer, and I'd be like, oh no, oh no. And I end up vomiting, and perhaps even getting even sicker. And it was not a fun time. That, thankfully, went away. You know, just over time, I've recovered from that. Long COVID was hell, but thankfully it's not an issue anymore. And recently my mom got surgery and all that. She's almost fully recovered, doesn't need my help as much anymore. And so since I've been streaming so on point with the schedule and producing so many segments, we've had sort of a unexpected side effect of so many extra segments piling up in the backlog. That being that when they release, the segments end up being out of date because there's so many, we don't know what to pick to release when, right? And my editor doesn't necessarily know what's the most topical because he's not super tapped into politics and know when to release it. So sometimes a video gets to be a day or two late because Ethan doesn't know that video should go out sooner. So me and Ethan we went ahead and had a strategy call, and we have decided that we may be increasing the upload per day amount to 4. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it can be fairly well spaced out, 6 hours apart per upload. And on top of that, I'm going to set up a system just sort of within the like video production pipeline for Ethan to know which videos to upload first, and like to prioritize, and which videos can kind of be, you know, left aside to just sit, you know, they're not topical or anything. They're like a video response to some crazy chud video that's not necessarily like doesn't need to come out like this week or whatever, right? It can come out next week, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be attempting to do. Zan, I can barely finish 2 of your videos per day. What the hell? Well, I mean, if you watch the streams, then you've already seen the content, so there's not as much need to watch the whole video. You can just kind of click on it and drop a like if you want to support. But besides that, you wouldn't really need to watch it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with 4 uploads per day. I feel like that's just more content to watch. I feel like if you're not gonna watch it or you can't like watch it all, it's like, I mean, that's too much of a good thing, right? And if you're somebody who wants more content, then I feel like you're getting exactly what you want, right? Like, I feel like right now the people who want more content are suffering more than the people who would be upset that there's too much content, you know? Zan is just pushing the YouTube algorithm. Partially it's that, yeah, that'll actually, well, it could help the algorithm, it could hurt it. That's the thing. It's kind of a 50-50. There's a good chance YouTube loves like 4 uploads per day plus a stream, so it'd kind of be 5 uploads a lot of days the way YouTube sees it. And they could also see it as spam, and they could end up nuking my channel. It's actually a massive coin toss, so trust me, it's not the safe bet that you might assume it is, at least from my understanding of the YouTube algorithm. Maybe I'm wrong. I've experienced cases where uploading too many times in a day has resulted in all the videos getting, like, deprioritized by YouTube. So we'll see how it goes. But there is genuinely a problem with the amount of videos that are getting caught in the backlog. Because people are genuinely, seemingly in the comments at least, upset with how late some, topics get a video released on them about them. Like, they see it as lazy or whatever. And I assure you, it's not laziness. It's just the amount of video upload brackets and the amount of segments that get uploaded. It's like, we just have to add more brackets and to upload in and prioritize certain topics over others, I suppose. That's really the only way to get around that. Do not get your channel giga-nooped. I want you here for the rest of my life. I hope I can be here for the rest of your life. Well, well, I'd like to retire one day. I'd like to retire one day. That would be nice. I'll say that. Just a fair little fun fact about me. I would like to retire someday. But I appreciate the sentiment, TSW Shadow Wolf. No, you stay? Aw, I want to retire. I want to retire. It's in, like, decades from now, but one day. God President Xanderhal, put him on the golden throne when he's dying. Oh no, don't turn me into the Emperor of Man. Dude, I would, dude, how upset would you be if, like, you were some, like, really prominent, good, progressive figure, and you changed the world with your rhetoric, and then out of nowhere, like, as you're dying, like, they start worshipping you, despite that being opposed to what you're into, and then you just have to watch for thousands and thousands of years as society crumbles in your view back and regresses based on, like, perverting your ideals into something that regresses society. God. Oh, my jaw's popping like crazy the last few days. It feels great. Praise be to God, President Xanderhal. That's TMJ? Damn right it is. And don't you forget it. I've had it for as long as I can remember. Don't know how I got it, I just do. And I gotta pop my right side of my jaw like that or it gets all tight and painful and doesn't feel good. And if I just pop it like that, it's like, oh, okay, now I feel good. Cool. My jaw's so fucked. Damn, I'm sorry, Redo. Hopefully my jaw's not as fucked as yours. It sounds so painful? Oh, it feels great, actually. Like, I don't know if that's normal. It feels, like, great, especially, like, up in here. I don't grind my teeth, though, Redo. No teeth grinding. The worst I've ever had is biting my tongue and lip in my sleep. And sometimes that puts me out of commission when it comes to talking for a couple days because it hurts. But no teeth grinding except for when I have, like, I guess a particularly bad, like, dream or something. That's, like, usually just a stress. Is, like, when I have nightmares, they're just, like, stress dreams. Where it's, like, there's something important and I'm stressing about it. But it's not very common. Like, my teeth have no grinding damage whatsoever. How do you know if you grind your teeth if you live alone? Because my teeth would show evidence of grinding damage, and I ask my dentists and my, like, hygienists whenever they clean my teeth, like, hey, do I have any evidence of, like, teeth grinding? And they're like, no, your teeth are, like, I've got pretty sharp molars, like, not in, like, a jagged kind of way, but, like, they're just kind of the shape they're supposed to be. Not really, like, ground down and flattened, not, like, chipped up. Yeah, I don't know why I have TMJ, but no teeth grinding. And no, like, lockjaw unless I don't pop it. People have always said, like, don't pop it, and I'm like, I get the lockjaw if I don't pop it. Like, I'm gonna keep popping it, and I never listen to those people. And 25 years, still going strong. Have you heard about the weird-ass Pokemon leaks? I did, Zawarm Chills, and I had the whole lore explained to me. And it seems like it's being pretty, like, overreacted to, from my understanding. But my understanding is that, like, they... Okay, so here's my understanding of the situation, okay? Basically, some unofficial lore that's, like, in progress leaked for the Pokemon, like, mythology, like the origin myth of the planet. And a lot of it is based off of different real-life mythologies, from Greek to Native American, like a surprising amount from Native American mythology. And particularly a couple of the stories that leaked are ripped from some interesting Native American folklore. And in Native American folklore and a lot of stories, I mean, obviously this is very broad, but, like, in specific ones, because there's, like, 1,000 nations or something like that, like, the folklore has stories that basically depict bestiality, not in, like, a sexual way, but in, like, a very matter-of-fact way. Like, there's some story where, like, a guy is a hunter, and he's hunting a horse, and he encounters this mare, and he's going to kill it, and she says, no, don't kill me, how about we get married instead? And apparently because the horse had a very beautiful mane, I know it's literally a story about Vosh, but Native American, or indigenous, I don't know what the current PC term is for it, and he goes on to marry the horse, okay, and then they travel the world, and she gives him permission to murder and like hunt all male horses. And then one day another hunter finds a male horse with a nice looking mane, and so he kills it and skins its mane and wears it on his head and decides to take a nap next to a tree, like in the bushes. And then the husband of the horse and the horse wife are walking through the, like, forest, and they see the mane, and then he fires the shot at it, killing the fellow hunter. And then this is the funniest fucking punchline to like a mythology story ever. The female horse that is married to this hunter says to him, "It has been done. The debt is paid. Goodbye," and leaves. For the thousands of male horses you have killed, and your attempt on my life, your accidental killing of one single human hunter means the debt is paid. I don't know what the moral of that story is. Don't ask me. But it is a real mythology story. And apparently that story and several others similar to it heavily inspired the lore that leaked from those Poke leaks. Now, as you can imagine, if you don't know that prerequisite mythology reference, what it looks like is, from my understanding, Pokemon murder, torture, porn, basically. And so the internet saw it and treated it exactly as that. Is that a fairly accurate summary of the situation? Because that's how I've had it explained to me. Yeah, the Typhlosion story is, yeah. Yeah, Xanderhall, that is totally correct. Yeah, that's how I had it explained to me by the Pokemon historian I know. Poor Typhlosion. Just bought a coldest water bottle on your recommendation. Damn, you must have been watching old content of mine. I hope you like it. I've had a couple people in chat tell me about theirs, and it's like, damn, these things are good, Zan. My favorite thing ever is when you put a bunch of ice in it, and then you fill it with water, and then you seal it. I'm not sponsored by them anymore and haven't been for years, so they are, like, I have no contractual obligation to say anything I'm saying right now. But you seal it up, and you leave it there for, like, few hours. Leave it there for like a day. Who cares? Leave it there until sunset. And then you go and you open it up and you look at the ice inside and you realize that the ice cubes in the inside of the bottle have gotten so cold that the water between the ice cubes has frozen, and the ice cubes are now frozen together into one big like tube of ice cubes that are frozen together in like a kind of like weird structure. Now, it's really neat. Those water bottles get so cold, they refreeze the water inside of them if you put ice in them. Not enough that, like, you're gonna lose out on drinking water because there's just too much ice, but enough that it those things are fucking cold, dude. If you need a water bottle that's just gonna keep your shit cold, I can't recommend it enough. Get the big one, by the way. Get the big chonkin' one, dude. Like, they sent me, because I did their sponsorship, and they sent, before I even did it, they sent me a sample. And that's the only reason I took the sponsorship, was I had a sample to try, and I was like, oh, this is a good product, okay. And they gave me a small, skinny bottle, it's a good-sized water bottle. It's bigger than, like, it held more water than this does. But, I thought it was great. And then after like a few months, and because I liked the product so much, and they're like, hey, you praise the product to a degree that we don't even pay you to do. Here's a free, like, the water bottle she tells you not to worry about, coldest water bottle. And it has like my name on it, Xanderhall, and it's like in my colors too. It was like dark gray, which was my main color scheme back then. And so they send me one that's like 2.5 times the volume or something like that. That's the one you want to get. The basically a thermos one. Dude, that thing goes crazy. Man, I need to dig that up out of my moving packages. I don't have an ice machine, though. I need to get an ice tray and start freezing ice, or freezing water into ice, and using that, because, man, I miss just always having ice-cold water.
Yeah.
Where have you been? You know how much deep shit you're in right now?
Why the
Lightning McGroomer. Okay, this looks like it's gonna be funny. Alright. Takamine Nightcore. We're watching this. Takami Nightcore, we're watching this. This is funny. This is a good meme recommendation.
Yeah.
Where have you been? You know how much deep shit you're in right now?
Why are you so angry?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because your obsession with middle schoolers! Look at the fucking news. Congratulations, you're not just famous for racing. What am I supposed to tell my agents now? Lightning McQueen is caught sending inappropriate pictures and messages to middle school girls, showing pictures like his exhaust pipe covered in oil. Like, I don't get it. You're a fucking car. We lost so many sponsors. Adidas, Apple. You know you have to show up in court, right?
Fuck.
Not to mention you're all over the newspaper too. Lightning McGroomer? Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard that shit before. Oh wait, I never heard that shit before because you never groomed fucking children before. What the fuck is wrong with you, Lightning McQueen?
They said they were 18. That's the
Who the
truth.
fuck is 18 in the 7th grade? See you in court.
Yeah.
God, that's so fucking good, dude. Typhlosion after the Giga leak. I don't know the Typhlosion story. That one in particular sounds like it involves kids, and that might be a step over the line, if I do say so myself. Alright. Anyway, guys, let me really quickly say thank you to Pepper T21. Wow, thank you so much for the $5 donation. That really means a lot and helps a ton. Thank you. Said Twitch is cracking down on sexualized VTuber avatars. The good news is they're explicitly banning lollies and Shota. Bad news is my titty window might get me banned depending on how strict it is. Let's hope it doesn't, but I am glad they're cracking down on Shota and lolly shit. That should just generally be off the board of any site in general, like by default, but apparently Twitch had to make that as a new policy decision. Interesting. But I'm glad they're doing that. Then again, a lot of the like weirdo VTubers are moving over to Kick anyway, and Kick's never going to legislate against anything like that with their moderation, so sadly, the problem will persist. YouTube is the platform that's really got to crack down on it for anything really impactful to happen. Zan, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Wow, wait, is it really Indigenous Peoples Day? How fitting that we were talking about the Typhlosion leaks then, and what inspired the substance in them. Wow, what a great way to honor Indigenous people in America's culture. Yo, Mr. Krabs, thank you for the $5 super chat over on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Said, Xanderhall, I have a funny meme for you. I ammed chat to watch, and also, have you heard Trump has soiled himself from his younger years, his presidency? I have no idea what that last bit means. I'm sorry, Mr. Krabs, but thank you for the $5, and I will check out the meme. But thank you for the $5 as well, Pepper T21, and thank you too.
Alright,
One Piece 34. Let's check out this meme really fast. I'm going to update the dono goal, and I just want to say, if you want to support the stream, but you don't have any money or you don't want to donate or can't afford it, then please consider simply dropping a like. It's totally free, and every thumbs up on my streams, my VODs, and my videos goes a long way to boost the channel and the algorithm, forcing YouTube to show my content to new people, so I really do appreciate it if you hit that like button. Thank you to everybody who does that. It just takes a second, and it really does help a lot, you know? It really does. I know you're that one person thinking right now, my like doesn't matter, I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to chill and keep doing what I'm doing, but trust me, your one like does count, and it really does mean a lot, especially if you make it a regular habit. Holy crap, if you make it a regular habit, I would get on my knees and bow to you, okay? If you showed me your phone IRL, and you showed me that you had liked every video I'd made in like the last week, I would fall to my knees, okay? Fall to my knees. Anyway, thank you for all the support. Even if you're a lurker, I do appreciate you just watching as well. And yeah, let's watch this funny meme that One Piece just sent.
Everybody, it seems all of you have a star that I so desperately want. So, how are we gonna play this? Shall I, like, have you guys choose a random number? Should I just press the random button and get it over with? What are you guys thinking?
I would vote Brent, because we all hate him.
What? Actually, you know what? Give me your best insult. Whoever is the worst insult gets stolen from. Go!
Who do we insult?
Me, or anybody. I just want to hear people be mean. Go!
Evie, you are so dim-witted and small-brained. This is the best idea of content that you could come up with.
I mean, it was a nice try. Brent, what have you got?
Nick, you're so fucking ugly, your mom fed you with a slingshot.
I don't know what to insult!
Bird, say something where I take from you.
There is no bridge big enough to contain how much of a troll you are. What?
I got that joke. No, that was good. That was good. That was good, because there's no bridge big enough to contain, because overweight joke, right? You know, basic middle school burn, and that's what they're going for there. How much of a troll you are, trolls live under bridges, you know? Like, it's a perfect joke. It literally takes a second to think about it. That doesn't mean it's not funny. God.
Man, if I'm being honest, you can really do better, man.
Bro, I thought Bryce was the weakest, bro.
No, I thought my joke was bad, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was bad. It was not even funny, bro. You could have done better, bro.
Any of you guys got any more good insults for me?
Evie, I think it would be kind of dank to get his ass one more time. That would be very toxic.
The thing is, though, what matters is if you have the best insult or not. So come on, I'm giving you guys another shot.
You're a poopy head.
Oh, I got one. Not Vern, sorry. Brent is the type to hate losing so much, he's never gonna lose his virginity.
Oh, that was pretty good. That was fairly good.
You have tough competition, Brent.
All right, you know what? Nick's brain is like his dick, small and insignificant.
Yeah, I don't know what hurt more. Both of those were really damn good.
If I were to give my expert opinion on being insulted by you people, I'd say Brent's was the best one.
I think Brent might have had the better one, if I'm being honest.
What? Mine was infinitely more clever than this baboon brain wiener and brain joke.
Of course, a bad joke came from the one who got a tiny brain with his tiny dick, bro.
Wait, so this. What if I did a poll?
All right. Well, put up a poll.
Brent has the best insult.
Yeah, baby.
Sophist, send him to the penis explosion chamber immediately.
Kill.
Well, guys, it's over. PP go bye-bye. All of you are getting sent to the penis explosion chamber. We should have that in the Discord. Wouldn't that be cool? If, like, instead of chudding, there was just a section called the penis exploding chamber. And that was where we kept all the, like, weirdos, chuds, and trolls. That would go pretty hard. I think that's how we should moderate the Discord from now on. And, like, anyone could go in there and antagonize them. Kind of like throwing like a soccer ball at a beehive, you know? But then they can very quickly like shut like the sliding glass door and not get stung by just not just leaving, you know? Like going and talking in another chat. We had a containment area for once, but I feel like we should make that more of a thing. We obviously have lines where if you cross that, you'll have to get banned, but if they're just cringe and weird, I feel like having a penis explosion chamber to keep them in is awesome. PP go bye-bye. I love that. As a non-native speaker, this sounds ambiguous, lol. That's great. That's exactly what I want from that. Thank you. Alrighty, PepperT21, whoa, thank you for the additional $5 dues. It really helps a lot and means a ton. Thank you. Said, if they're magically intelligent, presumably able... No, we're not going down this road. I'd be okay with it with such a negative or native-inspired story, so it depends on how it's handled. I know nothing about the leaks, but I think of D&D dragons. Yeah, we'll see how they handle it, but the leaks are not being well responded to, so they're probably going to go on heavy damage control. That final product's never seeing the light of day, most likely. Knowing the company that makes Pokemon. They don't like their controversy. They like to be a clean, squeaky clean little company that everyone likes, and no one suspects of being a company. Alrighty. Honestly, I'm glad this shit leaked, considering what's happening with the Pal World lawsuit. Anything that hurts Pokemon Company and anything associated with Nintendo, man, I love to see it. I have absolutely no bias in favor of any property adjacent to Nintendo. Seggy time? Almost. I'm gonna actually, do you guys mind if before we do a segment, I go ahead... Oh, wait, first, before that. Guys. Last night. Do you want to know what I watched after stream? The new episode of From. Good one, War Penguin. The new episode of From, dude, goes so crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh my god, dude. Holy shit. Oh, man. Oh, man. I haven't watched the newest Creepcast episode just yet because I've had so much on my plate, but I'll probably end up watching it either tonight or tomorrow. I'm quite excited. I always love to see how long I can manage to put off watching the newest Creepcast to see if I can make it to next week's episode without having to wait for a new one, if that makes sense. Who up creepin' they cast? I love Creepcast, dude. Wendigoon and Meat Canyon are great when it comes to their creepypasta readings. I really love it. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Left Right Game and Baraska, go watch those as soon as my stream is over. Holy shit. Content warning with Baraska, though. That's all I'm gonna say, okay? Just, don't want to spoil it. And no one in chat spoil it either, but, content warning. I was on edge the whole episode. I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers for the new Creepcast episode either. That'll upset me. Yeah, trigger warning for Tommy Taffy too. That one's that's a rough one. Braska's nuts. Yeah, it's one of my favorite creepypastas, but I'd say that Left Right Game is easily my favorite. Easily my favorite. I love Left Right Game. Anyway, guys, before we start segments today, I'm going to quickly use the restroom, get myself a new water since I've literally got only this much left and I got to hydrate before I dehydrate, and I'm going to grab myself a monster since I figure, you know what? Why am I edging myself from energy when I could just give myself the energy boost right off the bat and go into all the segments with it? It's going to be better for everybody. So I will be right back, guys. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned. I'm not ending stream. I'm just going to go and grab something. I'll BRB. Bobby, there's no way I'm gonna let my son, a son of mine, be a furry and identify as a gosh dang gopher. The government is back. Hey there, Calico Callie. Why you sounding like Dale Gribble? Hank Hill. I sell propane and propane accessories. Well, gosh dang it, Dale. Why are you living in my walls? Whoa! Bobby, why are you obsessed with this Talk to a podcast? And why do you want to go to Ohio so bad? Bobby, I don't know what a skibbity gat is, but I need you to stop talking like that right now. None of those words are in the Bible, damn it. I sell cocaine and cocaine accessories. Yeah, the King of the Hill YouTube poops are great. My favorite one is clouds? Clouds? I still can't do his voice saying clouds. Clouds? Zan, I wonder if Kamala would fluster Hank Hill. I think he would probably be a little bit like, I think he'd be pretty happy to vote for, honestly. The more I think about it, I think he'd be happy to vote for. I huff propane with propane accessories.
Hank, gophers are actually one of nature's natural killers. They burrow through the ground, and then when you're least expecting it, crawl up your butthole and tear your guts out from the inside. You ought to show them some respect, Hank.
Dale, I don't have time for you to enable my boy. God. Yeah, Hank Hill would fucking love Tim Walz, yeah. Tim Walz is everything that Hank Hill is a poser of. As much as I like Hank Hill, he is fundamentally a poser. Like, his entire character, well, his main character flaw, I should say, is that he's desperate to pretend to be someone he's not, which is his idealized masculine American man archetype that he lives up to, or tries to live up to. And so, the fact that Walz is literally just that, man, Hank would love Tim Walz. Football coach? Big. Not from a big, like, not from, like, New York or California. Big. Like, just a lot about him, right? Having been a teacher, history teacher, very kind of, like, I don't know, just a very respectable teacher kind of position, you know? I don't know, there's just something about it. Lol, you do a good Dale impression? I'm glad you think so, me to mix. Yeah, they hate Walz because he is who they are pretending to be, War Penguin, not who they want to be. I love the King of the Hill theory crafting, unironically. Well, the reboot is coming out soon. The sequel, I should say, not the reboot. It's going to take place, like, over a decade after the main show. Like, Bobby's going to be, like, 24, 25 years old and working at a fusion restaurant, quote-unquote. So that's going to be interesting. Bobby did always have a knack for cooking. So it makes sense that he would be working as a chef. Not a, like, busboy or something, or like a line cook, but a chef in a restaurant. Like a nice restaurant, by the sounds of the way it's described. So it seems like he's doing well. And I always expected Bobby would actually do well. Do you think Bobby is actually Bill's son? No, I really don't think Peggy would cheat. I do think Peggy is pretty awful a lot of the time, but generally she's a pretty decent person, even if she has some pretty serious character flaws. But so does Hank. I think people just find it endearing and lovable when it's Hank, and they find it annoying when it's Peggy, mostly because of misogyny. When you genuinely compare Hank and Peggy, Peggy may be a little sillier, and her moral compass might be a little bit more unaligned, but Hank gets away with a lot, man. Hank gets away with a lot. Yeah, and Bobby looks uncannily like Cotton, which really throws a wrench in that theory. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Bobby looks just like Cotton, who's Hank's dad, so... A theory that might actually hold more water is the theory that... Well, I think you can guess what I'm implying. And listen, Cotton Hill might be able to pull it off. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. It's more likely than Bill, okay? It's more likely than Bill, is all I'm saying. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just super saying. Anyway, Pepper221. Thank you so much for the additional $5. That really helps a ton and means a lot. Thank you. Said, sorry if I worded my shit weirdly. Here, have another Cars meme as compensation. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you just got to proofread your donations, you know? If you're going to pay for a message to be sent to me, I assume you would want it to be as understandable on my part as possible, because you're, like, paying for me to see it. And so, yeah, I would recommend proofreading them, because sometimes I get it. I typo like crazy, and I am not good at typing at all, and I make tons of mistakes, so I just have to proofread multiple times and fix multiple errors before I press enter. I do it all the time. It's just how you gotta do things. Otherwise, I mean, you won't really get your money's worth, right? But yeah, thank you. I'm gonna show you guys that in just a second. The meme video that I just got sent. And then Mike O. Moron, thank you for the $2 donation. I really appreciate that. Said, of course he killed Fitty Men. That is true. He did kill Fitty Men. He did indeed. I love that one scene where Cotton Hill is the most racist person in the room, but he actually knows what country Hank's neighbor Khan is from, when everyone else there who's, like, not really, they're not hateful towards him, but they're, like, passively sort of accidentally racist towards him sometimes. But Cotton actually, like, gets his nationality right simply to be more accurate and to evaluate what, like, specific ethnicity he needs to be racist towards. That scene was wild. I'll vote Democrat because it has democracy in it. The fuck is a republic? Many such cases, true. So yeah, before we watch that meme video, I want to show you guys a picture of my dog sleeping or getting ready for bed. It's her with her little tiny pillow. She does have a little tiny pillow, as you'll see here, and tucked in under the blanket because it's getting colder and her fur's not super insulating. Here's her posing for a picture before bedtime, and that's her with her little head leaned back on the pillow because that's how she sleeps. She sleeps like this, I'm not joking. She really thinks she's a child. Like, she thinks she's like a human baby and acts like it. She's so well-behaved, too. Like, I've never in my life seen such a well-behaved dog. Everything she does is in an attempt to impress or please us. It's great. The creature prepares for slumber. Still no clue what breed she is. No clue what breed she is, but whatever she is, she's awesome. And we love her. Yeah, she recognizes whenever, like, what it means whenever I say, I'll be right back. And then she runs to the like, door to wait for me. And she's waiting there when I open it because she knows, like, my mom will be here while she's recovering and watching the stream. And she'll watch as the dog sees me get up off stream and runs to the door and waits for me. I'm calling a Papillion Poodle mix? Hell yeah. That's what I think she might be too. Probably Papillion Poodle, a little bit of Chihuahua. Is she real? That's a photo, lol. Yeah, it's a photo of her. I don't like bringing her downstairs because, one, whenever I have her in my arms, you might think, oh yeah, you just hold her and you show her to the stream, she'd just be chilling in your arms. She is hyper, okay? If I brought her down here, if I had her on the ground, she would be, like, reared on her back legs. She's 2. She'd be reared on her back legs with her paws up on the chair, crying and whining to be let up into into my lap, because she'd want to be in my lap. And if I let her into my lap, she would then be on her back legs with her paws on my chest, like, in between my face and the mic, and I'd be having to go, no, Lola, stop, as she tries to kiss my face. And she's amazing and lovely and so sweet for that, but it would be a very rough time to stream. And so I don't like to bring her down here for that reason. And also, if I were to let her, like, free roam, like, just leave the door open and let her come down the stairs and come in here, I don't want her to be doing that because she's a very small dog, and those are some pretty significant stairs. Like, if she fell down 4 steps, it would be a problem. So yeah, I do think it's probably just a good idea to keep her up there, but I'll bring her on stream eventually. It'll probably be in, like, a video or something. Puppy segment when? One day, chat, one day. Did your mom name Lola after the song? Yes, she did, actually. Yeah. She's gonna take over the stream. She's gonna be the main star. Frankly, I think a lot of you guys would watch the stream if it was just like a camera live stream of her all day. She's very hard to stop watching and take, like, it's very difficult to take your eyes off of her because she's just always doing something adorable to get your attention. Like the second you look away, she starts pawing at your leg and then like starts crying like just like I call it deflating. It sounds like the noise of a balloon very slowly deflating. And so she just looks up at you and just deflates. And she whines. Oh, Westside Tyler has a bunny cam. That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to set up a dog cam for sure. When I reach 100,000 subs, I'm going to be doing a stream where I play my very first ever Sonic game of my life. Also, what's up, Heavy Gretel? Welcome. Good to see ya. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. What flavor the vapor? Same as always. It is a Fly Clip 600 Cool Mint nicotine vape. Sadly, because I am a gun owner, can't legally own or possess or consume marijuana anymore, and I had to quit weed before I ended up getting guns, and so no weed anymore. Can't recommend any strains or anything, sadly. But when it comes to nicotine, I got your back. No, yeah, they got to federally decriminalize, not just legalize, but decriminalize weed for gun owners to be able to have weed. Otherwise, it's still considered possessing a firearm and a controlled substance, which itself is a, like, felony. And there's good reason, too. There's a good reason for that to be a felony, to be fair. But when it comes to weed, it seems overzealous, I'd say. If you can drink and smoke cigarettes while you're, like, a gun owner, then you should be able to get stoned. Firearm? Like, are you like, what do you mean question marking? I'm a gun owner. Tyler is not a psycho. You're making him sound like a serial killer? What? What do you mean? What'd I say? Oh, the Dark Canuck? I don't think Tyler's a psycho at all. Where'd you hear that, Dark Canuck? I know for a fact that a group of content creators that I know for a fact are dipshits have called him that. But, I generally see them saying something about someone negative as like a shining endorsement of that person, to be honest with you. Okay, not crazy, but he just sure yells a lot. So? Like, I mean, maybe it's not your cup of tea, but I mean, that doesn't make him a bad person. I feel like yelling a lot just means you're pretty passionate about the topic, right? He yelled at Bonerbox? Based? Bonerbox hates me. And thus has brain damage, so... Oh, well, Tyler literally does have brain damage, apparently, from an injury. But I think Lonerbox has him beat by a lot. You've been on Tyler's radar too, Zan? I mean, I don't think he's really shit-talked me much, but, like, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'm not really... There's not really much I have to worry about, I guess. I don't really care that much. I can only yell when I'm uncontrollably angry. You can only yell when you're uncontrollably angry? What do you mean? You just go, "Wah!" You know, just let out a little yell. You just do it. You just go, "Wah!" You know, like make a little monkey noise, like, you know, just have a little fun with it. Unless you live with people, then don't do that. When he yelled at Lonerbox, it wasn't a good look. Not Lonerbox though. It wasn't exactly a W. Ah, okay. That makes sense. I haven't seen the video by any means. I've heard about it. Like I said, I don't really watch a lot of political content on YouTube anymore. I honestly think it kind of taints your like perspective on things too. I find that just going in totally blind on everything and like learning about whatever given topical news story is relevant in the associated research or data that I need to know, or even just like researching any topic I need to know about. I like going in blind and figuring out what to think just based on what I find, you know? Just full raw dogging it, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't really watch political content anymore. Sometimes I'll watch like a news-oriented political content, like if it's just like, here's the news, simple as. I might watch that, but not really watching a lot of political content myself, just because I don't really need to. Oh no, I consistently watch Xanderhall. Am I biased? Biased in a good way. Imagine Trump supporters right now if you just literally admitted that you haven't gotten because they think liberals don't have guns. Imagine Trump supporters right now if you just literally admitted that you haven't gotten because they think liberals don't have guns. I tried, Takumi Nightcore, I tried. I tried. Anyway.
Dude,
I love. Oh my god, chat. Have you seen this guy's content? These videos are great. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, here's the best one. This is the best one.
I found this Martian in a crashed UFO outside Dairy Queen and fed him 16 peanut butter parfaits. Michael Fitzsimmons, you spoiled this poor creature's appetite. Come on, Ma, I couldn't help it. He loves them.
I spent the last 2 hours working on this pot roast, so you boys better finish your plates.
My pot roast!
Dairy Queen.
That's it! I'm calling NASA!
Come on, Ma. They're gonna put him in a big jar. Hello, NASA? A little green man just vaporized my pot roast.
The Dairy Queen.
If you had a neck, I would strangle you! Come on, Ma. They put him in a big jar.
I love that guy's animations. The gnome one is so good. This one is great. Hold on, this is a two-parter, and it's fantastic.
I finally caught one of you sick little fucks. You can chew through metal, but you can't chew through glass, huh?
Where did you even get a glass box? This is an absurd thing to own.
Well, it used to house exquisite jewelry. But now the pawn shop is stocked up on Gam's emerald brooches!
Please let me go.
Where's your nest? I haven't had Triscuits in weeks because of you rodents.
I'll never tell.
You realize you fit in a microwave, right? I finally caught one.
Part 2. It's time, part 2.
If you're going to kill me, then so be it. But I won't compromise my brethren.
The creator is
Your
Goob
shirt says 81. Are there over 80 gnomes in my house right now?
No, it's actually just an Aaron Hernandez jersey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you, like, a fan?
Separate the art from the artist, brother.
See, now I'm just uncomfortable.
Then release me or kill me. I resent these transparent confines.
Well, since you like Aaron Hernandez so much, how about I take off all your arms and legs and use you as a football for the rest of your life?
They're in the air vents. If you're going...
I love these psychotic scenarios, too. It's so fucking good, dude. I love that guy's videos. Good God. You can actually safely microwave a human? There's no way a human can be microwaved and not, like, a little guy. There's no way you couldn't take a little gnome guy, put him in a microwave, and, like, 10 seconds of microwaving doesn't kill him. Like, there's no way. Like, I've seen what that does. My mashed potatoes sound like a battlefield after 5 seconds. Goob Smooch, Joylin Gaming. Also, it was on screen the whole time there. You guys know that, right? Like, the way YouTube Shorts works, like, you could see it on screen the whole time. Do you plan on covering Shadow Raven trying to rebrand as a progressive? No fucking shot, bro. Am I gonna have to go, like, body that dude again? Guys, I can't have my name in another suicide note. Come on. How much am I expected to bully this dude? It's getting excessive now. That line goes crazy. That's a joke. As far as I'm aware, my name's not in any suicide notes. But if you guys were based, you would have let me roll with it, and I wouldn't have had to say I was joking. Perry Icefire, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. It really means a lot. Thank you, thank you. Said, just found out my governor of Nevada is nearly like Greg Abbott with the amount of bills he vetoed. At least 75 good bills within 2023. One of them providing free school lunches for kids K through 12. They're evil and they hate children and want them to die. Yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it when it comes to Republicans. They are evil, they hate children, they want Americans to die. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much sums it up. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. This is probably going to be every Tesla conference from now on. What is this? No! No, okay, we gotta... I don't think you've been here for the last few times I've had to talk about this. Please refrain from sending me links for copyrighted material. When I say that, I mean songs that are like the type of shit you would hear on the radio and TV shows that you would see on a streaming service or on television. Well, a YouTuber's content is also copyrighted. Networks and record labels and whatnot have bots that skim through everything on YouTube 24/7 and faster than YouTube's moderation or anything locates their copyrighted content being posted or streamed, especially streamed, and they nuke the stream first and sometimes even revoke monetization on the channel. So please refrain from that. Please. Just so you guys know why it's a problem, now you guys know. I'm not just being a buzzkill. There is actually a very good reason that I can explain in depth for why it's sadly unfortunate. Anyway, A Shining Soul, thank you for the $5 reduce. How kind of you. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. Said, YouTube link, near the end of the video, he blasts himself with microwaves. Oh, okay, so this video disproves my belief that being microwaved as a human would fucking kill you. Okay, well that's just crazy. You know, I guess it makes sense considering, well, I guess it doesn't, but I mean, I do know that microwaving your food doesn't do anything to it that makes it dangerous, because, like, food being hit with radiation doesn't mean it's irradiated and thus a source of radiation now. But man, getting radiated by this, maybe it's just a type of radiation that... So are you telling me you couldn't microwave human meat? Like, if you cut a slab of human meat off of someone, it was dead human meat, you couldn't microwave it? I don't know, man.
Waves are not as dangerous as you may think. Let me demonstrate. I've got this light bulb, and I'm gonna make it light up in my mouth. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, this is fucking weird,
I wasn't
dude.
joking. Microwaves are much weirder and safer than I ever expected, which allows us to do some pretty weird stuff. In this video, I go through my journey and the interesting experiments over the last few months that led me to basically microwaving myself, but of course without harm. And during my experiments, I'll be taking off my...
Guys, I think that's what radiation looks like. Not very dense radiation, but I think every one of these streaks is a particle of the radiation carving its way through and leaving its path. I think what we're seeing here is radiation on a 2D in 2D. Like, if you just wrote out what I think that's what we're seeing is the path of... Is that what that is? Yeah, I think those are radioactive like the particles of radiation that are like, for some reason, able to leave a mark on here. I guess due to some interaction with the metal, maybe, and it leaves a streak. But I think that's the path that the particles are traveling in. Microwaves aren't radiation. Microwave radiation? It is radiation, but it's not deadly as long as it's non-ionizing? Yeah, I guess so. Man, radiation is interesting stuff. I'll never fully understand it, I'm sure.
Led me to basically microwaving
That's so
myself,
cool.
but of course without harm. And during my experiments, I'll be taking off my protective gear to demonstrate some misconceptions about microwaves and see if anything happens to my hand. And I was very surprised with the results.
Wow.
Some other YouTubers...
That's so dope. That's so freaking cool. King of Random, unfortunately not the King of Random. May he rest in peace. Paramotoring accident. Peepo Sag. Peepo Sag. For those who don't know, I think his name was Grant Thompson, the King of Random. He's the one who made the original backyard foundry / forge design that I ended up making for a school project and want to make another one of, so I can do backyard forging and foundrying, smelting, I guess, in my backyard. Especially because there's a lot of metals out there to find here in this here state of Washington. Yeah, don't microwave your balls to get cancer. It won't work, apparently. Sorry, guys. No testicular cancer for you. Peepo sad. Anyway, Pepper T21, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Said, all right, again, sorry for accidentally sounding like Vosh Lamau. Here's a true cyberpunk fact. I don't know what you mean by that, but thank you for the $5, and let's check this out. It's this guy's videos. I love these. Cyberpunk has furries.
Can be
Okay.
furries in Cyberpunk 2077. Let's say hypothetically you travel to a city governed by a corporation where poverty and crime is high. It'd be important to know whether or not there's a furry culture. In the sourcebook Chrome Volume 2, the lore states that there are humans that can go through reconstructive surgery in which their body is sculpted to look like different beings. This includes being a dog or an insect. It even goes into detail on their exotic packages where the snake can become a good kisser, the bunny a decent breeder, and the last package, the Playbean. The Playbean comes with the Mr. Stutter Midnight Lady, which are genitalia implants. Other features include a behavior chip that stimulates libido and a contraceptive implant. Although they're barely seen in the game, you can find one character that's a reptile. And this could be for many reasons. Either CD Projekt Red didn't have enough time to implement them, or it's due to lore, in which being an exotic tends to be really expensive. But the true question is, does Adam Smasher still have his balls?
Nope.
You?
He definitely doesn't. Okay. Good memes. No, Adam Smasher does not have balls. If he did, it would be a massive drawback. Like, why would he still have balls? Why would he choose to still have balls? I think he's nothing but, like, half of a not cybernetic brain at this point. I don't think there's anything that's him left besides, like, a little bit of the original brain. Is there, like, anything else? I think he's, like, almost fully just a robot. I don't know. Maybe there's more, like, physical body inside of, like, the chassis of his, armor. But I think his arms, legs, head, torso, and most of his head itself, besides, like, and most of his brain are cybernetic. Adam Smasher's dick is a flamethrower like the Metal Gear and Phantom Pain. Oh yeah, true. True, makes sense. Yeah, why wouldn't that be used as a weapon though? To be fair, you know, why wouldn't they do that? They would make that a weapon. That is true. 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 The wee-wee weapon. All right, guys. Let me figure out which segment we're starting with for today. Let's see. Let's see about this one. Let's see about this one, my lovely chatters. Alright, everyone. You all know what to do when I say action, right? If you don't, because I realize it's been a long time since I've told you what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to say hi YouTube. H-I-Y-T, if you just want to make it fast. Anyway, you all know what to do, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Alright, everyone. So, we're really close to the election now. Just a couple weeks away. I'm getting a little nervous, a little anxious, I won't lie. And while I do think Kamala's chances of winning are actually pretty good, I am still worried. In areas in which I think she could, in key states, potentially lose, reasons why she may lose, are big concerns for me that I feel I need to draw attention to. Since we've got time to acknowledge the problem, maybe there is time to do something about it. Now, unfortunately, America's elections, especially the general election for presidency, is very much a two-party system. This could change one day, and there are a lot of people who would make a lot of interesting arguments for how that could be done. I actually interviewed one of the founders of the Green Party on my stream a few years ago, and I questioned him. Maybe you might consider a little harshly. I went a little hard, but I think it was actually, you know, there was merit to it, considering why. Why should someone vote for the Green Party, for example, over the Democrats? If you're a Green Party voter, then chances are you're a pretty progressive person. You have concerns that involve the climate and social justice and all that good stuff. You probably feel like the Democrats just don't represent those ideals well enough. And if you're willing to not support the Democrats in such a pivotal election against such a blatantly anti-democracy, bordering on dictatorial maniac, then something is wrong. Like, that's not a valid or well-constructed line of logic, but people are still opting down that path. And some might argue that refusing to participate in the two-party system is a way of protesting it and changing that, but unfortunately, that won't matter if Trump wins and ensures we never have another election. So the fact that a significant amount of would-be blue voters are potentially going to go green this election is a pretty big problem. The Green Party never wins the election. There's never been a Green Party win. At least for the presidency. They know they're not going to pull even the high enough percentage that they can achieve their goals of making the Green Party more legitimate in future elections. The only thing they're achieving here, notably Jill Stein, is achieving during this election is taking support from Kamala Harris. Now, you might think I'm being a little bit... You might think I'm being a little bit harsh here. Nope, it's a principled vote. Well, you can say that, Vortigern, but you could, like, a principled vote is all well and good, but what's that matter if you don't get to have any vote in 4 years? What's that matter if we don't get to have any country in 4 years? Are you still under the have you memory hold Trump's presidency? There's still, even in my own chat, guys, Russia and the Republican Party have done a great job of brainwashing people like Vortigern into being accepting and tolerant to people who are willing to knowingly or not help Trump destroy our country and our democracy. Anyway, Jill Stein's chances of blocking Kamala Harris win in key swing states. While Green Party candidate Jill Stein is unlikely to win the presidency, her support in key blue wall battleground states could be decisive, with razor-thin margins between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, according to polls. Stein, who is on the ballot in key swing states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, has drawn criticisms from Democrats in recent weeks as the race tightens, amid claims she is giving Trump, the GOP nominee, an edge. On Friday, The Democratic National Committee, the DNC, released a new ad titled Crucial, targeting voters in these 3 states and accusing Stein of siphoning supporters from Harris, the Democratic nominee. The ad shows Stein's face morphing into Trump's with the message, "A vote for Stein is really a vote for Trump." Now, you can whine and cry about that if you want to, but it's completely true. It's completely true. This is a razor-thin election as far as we have any real reason to believe besides gut feeling that maybe Kamala Harris ends up pulling more support than expected. We really need to lock in. We need every single last vote that we can get. It's not a matter of, oh, we don't want Donald Trump to win. It's a matter of, A, existential threat of climate change. That has to be dealt with. Biden and Kamala Harris have been the most aggressive against climate change presidents we've ever had. People have tried to argue with me on this, and they're just proving they literally don't keep up with the news or the policies passed by our sitting administrations. So they're dumb, and I don't care about their opinions. All good. Anyway, it's not like you can just look at climate change alone, and it's like, okay, it's the end of the world. Like the end of the world if Trump gets elected. That issue alone, we can't let him win. Like, for all of humanity, you need to selflessly choose to vote against Trump in a way that helps to keep Trump out of office. And a vote for Jill Stein and the Green Party is not going to do that. Mind you, I don't care if you're the biggest Green Party shill and you know, defender out there. Like, the arguments I've heard in chat for it aren't even the same arguments the co-founder of the Green Party made to me. In fact, the co-founder of the Green Party, who is not Jill Stein, by the way, I believe it was, I think his name was, like, Howie Hawkins, I think his name was? It's been years, I'm sorry, guys, I don't really follow the Green Party. Howie Hawkins, I think his name was. I interviewed him, and his argument was that during midterm elections, and in states that are already settled to go to the Democrats, if there is enough votes, then they can potentially gain legitimacy for the party by getting a high enough percentage of votes. And they can do this, hopefully, without stealing votes from the Democrats, right? And that they don't want to steal votes from the Dems in swing states. That's what he said to me. And it's weird to me that people will defend the behavior of voting for the Green Party in swing states when not even Howie Hawkins was arguing that you should do that to me. Like he didn't even argue that to me. He was just like, yeah, no, we just, if you're in a settled blue state and you just want to show support for the Green Party to show there's legitimacy there and that what we stand for is desired, then you can. I'm like, well, I don't fully agree with that. I can respect it, right? I can respect it to a degree. Anyway. The ad also features a video segment of Trump speaking at a June campaign rally in Philadelphia, saying, "Jill Stein, I like her very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them, the Democrats." So Donald Trump has outright, stated what we all know. He's just said it out loud. Like, when Donald Trump himself says he loves Jill Stein because she's taking votes from the Democrats, I mean, what else do you need? You don't take my word for it. While Democrats say that voters supporting Stein would potentially lean Democratic, it's unclear whether all of these voters would have otherwise backed Harris or opted not to vote at all. Stein's campaign spokesperson previously told Newsweek in an email the notion that Democrats and Republicans own everyone's votes and that Greens supposedly take votes from the political establishment is... This is literally just like not being a team player with the country. I'm sorry. But like Donald Trump is being pushed by foreign adversarial nations trying to get him in power to harm our country and harm its people. Trump is literally promising to defund every public school in the entire country that mandates any vaccines whatsoever for students. You realize there's going to be rashes of massive pandemics and outbreaks if Trump takes office and imposes this policy like he promises to do and will be able to do, by the way. Might be millions of dead children by the end of his at least 4 years. You think he'll leave office willingly? Sure. You think we're ever having another election if he wins? Sure. Harris's clearest path to victory next month would be to win the 3 blue wall battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Barring any shock results elsewhere, Trump's most efficient path to 270 electoral college votes would be to win the swing states of North Carolina, Georgia, and flipping Pennsylvania. Trump narrowly won Pennsylvania in 2016 against former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, but President Joe Biden flipped it back in 2020. Newsweek has reached out to Steins and Harris's campaign for comment via email on Sunday. So yeah, this situation is definitely concerning. It is most definitely concerning, but here's the thing. While it is worth being worried about this and encouraging friends and family to absolutely not vote green and to vote blue instead. Vote blue no matter who, as we say. I actually do want to let you guys know that there is some good news. Mail-in ballots are apparently getting counted. And so far, this isn't fully updated by, like, the hour necessarily, but this is accurate as of today, from my understanding. I had this sent to me earlier. But apparently, 4.7, almost 4.8 million mail-in and early in-person votes have been cast nationally. And damn. Is anyone here colorblind and in need of me to break down who's winning here? And by a lot? Now here's the thing. What's really going to matter is the states, okay? Those important states are what decides it. It's not who gets the most votes. It's who wins the key winning states to win the Electoral College. So we're going to have to see what happens here, but man, if this is legit, then we're off to a good start. Now, granted, you got to remember as well, mail-in ballots are always going to have an early voting in general is always going to have a bias in favor of the Democrats because the Republicans think that shit is rigged and refuse to participate in it, but looks good, doesn't it? Still looks good, still nice to look at, right? Hell yeah, Chipson 1709. We got a Dem Pennsylvania voter here. Let's go! We love Pennsylvania Dem voters. We love Pennsylvania Dem voters. Let's go! Yep. Regardless of the outcome, Trump will try to steal the election. Like, if Harris wins, he'll try to steal the election. So you gotta remember, the bigger of a win Harris has, the harder it is for Trump to challenge that in court and try and overturn the results a la, like, the Al Gore thing. Like, forcing a recount that turns up a barely different result. Or blocking a recount. Oh, that'd be insane. That would be the real Al Gore situation. If a recount that would be totally fucking valid gets blocked. Oh, jeez. That would be a nightmare. Yo, War Penguin, thank you for the tier 1 gift sub to Chipson1709. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thank you, thank you. Said, vote blue, name him as blue. Based, yeah, if you announce that you're in a swing state and you're going to vote Democrat, there is a decent chance that someone in chat is going to gift you a sub. So, I guess that's a thing. That's pretty dope. Yo, and War Penguin, I gotta read these subs in a bit because I don't want to get too caught up while we're in the middle of the segment. I appreciate your support, guys. But like I said before, listen, I don't think Jill Stein's like a Russian op. I've seen a lot of like hate for Jill Stein. I don't think she's like a Russian operative. I don't think she's like an agent trying to destroy the democracy or whatever. But regardless of intentions, even if they are well-meaning politicians trying to give more options to the American people, we're in a situation now where the Republicans, they never really have been, but more so now than ever, they are not just the alternative to a happy and flourishing America. The Democrats are not only the party of, like, preserving rights and like justice for marginalized groups and like the working class and whatnot more than any other party. The Republicans are now also the party of destroying the country and all of those rights, and the Democrats are the party of just making sure the country runs as intended. The Republicans regularly throw shit fits and shut down the government because they don't want to agree on a budget bill. Like, it's just, they will literally shut down all of federal like institutions for days, weeks, in like a week plus at a time. We've had more and the longest government shutdowns since the Trump era started than in all of American history, as far as I'm aware. This is a modern day Republican thing. They are willing to destroy our country if it means any individual one of them gets to claim a win to the public, because they're basically acting like celebrities on TMZ now. That's how politicians act now on the Republican side. They don't run the country competently. Like, on an objective level, they don't run the country competently, completely separate from any ideological bias. They just don't competently run the country. And then on top of that, they are dedicated to appeasing their voter base by appealing to their racism and bigotry towards marginalized groups, which means if they win, they're going to try to secure that support because they're crowd pleasers, and that's all they care about doing is pleasing the crowd, by further pushing to destroy rights, much like Donald Trump's proudly Republican-leaning Supreme Court nuking Roe v. Wade. There is much worse and more like the nuking of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court ahead of us if Donald Trump wins. Even if he doesn't win, it's not going to be perfect. But if you think it's going to be bad because of all the things the Supreme Court has done, then imagine if Trump gets to secure at least 4 more years in the White House, because I personally don't believe he would give up his position as president in a million years. I think his plan is to win and for the Trump dynasty to own America for ever after that.
In terms of the impact on the genocide being conducted in Palestine right now by Israel and the United States.
Yeah, and also like the going at it with the whole, like, the only point on which I feel like progressive voters might be swayed to not vote for the Democrats and to put their vote somewhere else is like a protest vote, or as one person in chat said earlier, a vote of what was the word for it? It's super LARP. It's super like self-righteous. Oh yeah, a principled vote. There we go. Nice and self-righteous.
You know, who knows what Donald Trump will do? It's certainly not preferable by all indicators to what the Harris-Biden or the Biden-Harris administration is doing right now. So we have one candidate who's actually committing the genocide right now. And in spite of her promises and her slightly milder rhetoric, is actually continuing the same full transfer of weapons, who refuses to consider even a weapons embargo to put a halt to the genocide.
We literally can't. Like, I'm pretty sure we've got an agreement with Israel that would force us into an even worse deal. Same goes for Ukraine. We have an agreement with Ukraine. I don't think it's with you. It might not be Ukraine. It might be like it might be the European Union or NATO. It might be NATO we have an agreement with, and NATO has extended that agreement to Ukraine. But if we refuse to provide the much lesser support we're already providing to Ukraine, if we revoke that, I think we break an agreement that like locks us into some kind of contract that requires us to give way more support to Ukraine. Like, Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about. America is in agreements and treaties that like effectively cannot be broken, that's out of the president's control, that like he can get us into that situation. I don't think he can get us out. There are certain things Donald Trump is running on that if he does it, he's going to be able to do the thing he said he's doing, but the results are going to be like even more and possibly a worse version of the thing that he is supposedly trying to fix. Yeah, and to be very clear, by the way, Donald Trump and Jared Kushner have said that Gaza is prime real estate. Jared Kushner specifically has said that it's amazing beachfront property that once all the buildings have been annihilated and the people moved away from it, great real estate investment there in Gaza. So you've got Kamala Harris, who is effectively, or I should say Biden. Kamala Harris is the vice president. Her job is to meet with these world leaders, not to tell them what to do. But Kamala Harris and Biden, while they are, backing Israel as much as any president has to, particularly because you got to remember Israel does have a civilian population that it has to defend. It requires trillions or whatever, not really, but a lot of money to defend that population because they're constantly getting like bombs thrown at them. And that's not a meme. That's not a lie, by the way. That's not like Zionist propaganda. Like, it's not. Like, when attacks are made against Israel, it's on their civilian populace. They do got to defend those random civilians that are just trying to vibe, right? They didn't choose to be Israeli for the most part. Some did, but that doesn't mean they should die. So there is valid reason for the U.S. to defend, like, give aid to its ally that is actually under attack. The problem is Israel's way of defending itself is more like, what's a good example? Let's say somebody pointed a gun at you, fired, and then missed. That would be the kind of situation that generally happens when any party attacks Israel. Israel is like if the guy who got shot at responded by murdering the dude, or I guess not murdering, but killing the guy who shot at him, but then proceeding to murder the dude's entire family. That's basically what Israel does if I were to give like a sort of more on the ground understandable comparison to the situation. Israel gets a little crazy with it, You could argue they commit war crimes with it, Yeah, head for an eye kind of shit. And so massively disproportionate, very unprecise, massive amounts of civilian casualties. In fact, it's so bad that I've got a whole different segment later on today that's literally just all about that. 40 countries in the Lebanon UN peacekeeping force condemning Israel's actions. So it's going to be Israel is not generally very well appreciated for its military action lately. Yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump are also personal friends. So this desperation by the Green Party, who absolutely is trying to siphon votes from the Dems. That is the demographic they're trying to get votes from. That is the demographic that would vote for them if convinced. Republicans are never going to vote Green Party. But they're trying to use this one issue, which is, I'm really starting to wonder, I don't think she is like a Russian agent, but I really wonder if the origin of fuck the Dems for not letting Israel die narrative that's so popular on the left, I really wonder if that does originate from Russia. Because a lot of the same people are also Russian sympathizers when it comes to the war in Ukraine. Really makes me wonder how much of this shit that's a brain rot on the left actually originates from Russian psyops. Because we know the Russians have influenced the right in America and online a lot, and they dedicated a lot of money to it, hundreds of millions of dollars, in fact, Putin himself. But what about on the left? I feel like it's had to have happened to a degree. Not that there are left-wing figures being paid by Russia, but more so that Russian bot farms have been used to create self-harming for the left popular narratives to pass around, I wonder if some Russian bot farms started the original, anger at Hogwarts Legacy, for example. Even with J.K. Rowling involved, it felt so insane that it felt like there had to have been something pushing it along, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm being conspiratorial here.
And then we have another candidate who's threatening to continue the job. So, if the American people want other options, they're certainly entitled to them.
They're not other options, though. This is the thing. They're not other options. Like, they're an option in the same way that when you get mugged in an alleyway, your options are to give them your money, fight and probably get killed or beaten to death or shot, or fly away. The Green Party is like the fly away option. Technically, it's an option. It's the most ideal option, but it's literally not possible. A human being cannot literally put their arms in the air and fly away from a dangerous situation like Superman. But yeah, it'd be nice if people had that option. It's technically a thing you could consider, but you're not going to end up doing it. You can try, in the sense you could vote for the Green Party, but they won't win. By a long shot, they won't win. In fact, you're probably going to end up with exactly what would happen if you tried to fight them happening. Link, watch it. It's been pretty prophetic. No, we're good, Redo. We're in the middle of a segment right now. But like I said, I do find it interesting that the Israel thing has been continuously used by people to try and like build resentment around voting for Kamala Harris. And mind you, a lot of the people who have done this have a vested interest in either A, people diverting votes from Kamala Harris to vote for their party, the Green Party, with like Jill Stein and her situation, or their political left-wing commentators that you can look at every single stat that exists, all unanimously made more money when Donald Trump was elected, because Donald Trump's presidency makes everybody super locked in on politics for like 4 years straight. So it makes you wonder, well, okay, how much are these content creators that are saying Kamala Harris and Trump aren't that different because Israel, how many of them are completely not allowing the fact that they would make more money if Kamala Harris lost the election on their channels? How many of them are absolutely not letting that impact what they're saying and advocating for? Just thinking about that, you know, just it's just a thought, you know, it's just something that I think about. Just a little something. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment and found it entertaining, educational, or in any way enjoyable to watch at all, then please consider leaving a like. Every single thumbs up is totally free on my videos, my VODs, my segments, no matter what. It really does help the channel a lot when you drop those likes. It forces YouTube to push my content and the algorithm out to more new viewers, and it grows the channel a lot, so I really do appreciate it. On top of that, you can comment down below to compound the benefit of dropping a like, which really helps a ton and means a lot to me. And on top of that, if you haven't already, you can also follow my social medias, linked down below in the description. Subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And don't forget to join my fan Discord, linked down below in the description. It is totally free to join. It is the main hub of my fan base and community online. And I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties there, as well as announcing all my new uploads and streams there, too. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to join. And finally, if you want to support me directly and you feel so generous to do so and you can afford it, please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Streamelements, Patreon, or buy merch to the Streamlabs link down below. Though regardless, as much as it does help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, regardless of how you, watch my content, even if you're just a lurker, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again, and have a good one. Dude, my hair is puffing up, bro. It does this once it dries. It just gets all puffy. Oh, man. I don't know what it is, but this, like, length of hair is impossible to manage. There's just nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. It's just, I've got curly fucking hair. I like to push it back as much as I possibly can to keep it off my face, but then it frizzes up like that. It looks cute, though. No, it doesn't. It looks fucking awful. Look at this shit, bro. Oh, my God. I feel like if I push it all the way back, it's, like, too far back. But then if I push it to the side too much, then it's too much to the side, because there's just too much hair. There just needs to be less hair. I just don't like how I look with too much hair. Use a headband? Nah. I don't have a headband. I need to get a haircut. Have I talked about Asmongold yet? No. What did Asmongold do? Xanderhall told my Pennsylvania bestie to vote blue and tell her family and friends to vote blue. Hell yeah, Jolene Gaming. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. Hell yeah. I saw that Cammy Whammy. I might end up covering it, but because it's just like the third one now, it's not even news at this point. Asmongold pulled a cockroach from his ear. No. 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 No, that's not real. Okay, that's... I'm not seeing anything come up. No, he didn't. I was just kidding. God damn it. Then what's relevant with Asmongold? Oh, he went on a crazy racist rant today. Okay, is this it? Oh boy. What is this?
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't...
So, there's a lot to unpack there, like a lot. But I think the most important thing to acknowledge here is that Sharia law is a system that specifically and overtly and proudly provides all societal privileges and permissions to men, and specifically makes property and denigrates women and children. Sharia law is not a pro-genocide ideology such that every person who lives under it should be killed. Because Sharia law is a governmental, religious-motivated idea that is pushed by powerful men in an area and enforced on the women and children who are the victims of the genocide. That he is saying, well, I don't care because they practice Sharia law. No, they live under Sharia law. That's not the same. A lot of them don't believe in it. Hell, Hamas had like a sham election decades ago. That's how they gained power and have held it, because the Gaza has been in fucking nonstop like attack by Israel for decades now. It's like, oh, he's brain dead. I don't know what else like you want me to say.
Don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. They'd be doing the same thing.
The majority of the population of Gaza are minors, by the way. Literally so young that they're decades too young to have anything to do with the rise to power of Hamas. Like, too young to have had anything to do with it. They just grew up under it. Hell, they're not done growing up.
And how much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it.
Man, this is such an effective example of, like, the way that Americans think of like other countries if they are like the enemy, quote unquote. Like, even like I figure, like, when I talk about Russia, I feel like I make it pretty clear I'm talking about Putin and the oligarchy and not the people of Russia. Granted, there's a lot of like Z flag toters in Russia, but like, I've got Russian fans. There might be one or two in chat right now, and they are equally pissed off about Putin, the oligarchy, and the dumb fucks who run around waving their Z flags. So I feel it's important that you clarify the, like, civilian population and the amount of diversity and opinion within that population does not mean their nationality makes them immediately deserving of death. They didn't choose to be born in a country that many of them don't even agree with the politics of. Like, obviously tons of people dying at Israel's hands in Gaza don't even agree with the politics of Hamas, which runs Gaza. Like, obviously that's the case. They don't deserve to die just because they were born under a regime that is bad.
It just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their ideas.
He's repeating, God, who is it? Is it Sam Harris? Is he aping Sam Harris's bit right now? Like, if you, there was this rash of, like, atheist, speakers that, not Sam Harris, my bad, not Sam Harris. Fuck, what's his name? Yeah, no, Sam Harris, I think. Yeah, I think it's Sam Harris. There was this rash, like, of atheist, speakers and thinkers that took a hard pivot during 2016 to 2014 when Gamergate was happening. It was sort of like parallel to all that, where a bunch of like anti-religious figures started to pivot really hard to criticizing Islam at the same time as the right like focused in on Muslims as being like the number one boogeyman. We got to stop all Muslim immigration, etc., etc. And so there was this like, we want to stop Muslims from entering the country, not because of their race or because their ethnicity or that they're brown or whatever, but because they have an inferior culture and religion that hasn't had a reformation like Christianity, and they are bringing bad ideas here. It's like, basically the mindset is that they're going to bring Sharia law here was the talking point. And like, I think it was Sam Harris and a good few other like of those prominent like atheist speakers that like got in on that a while ago. So he's basically aping the talking points of like 2016 Sam Harris here.
Identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
I feel this is like a really dark idea, but it kind of illustrates like how fucking demonic this idea is, and it's so common among Americans. It's why so many are willing to vote for Trump. I mean, Asmongold, if he votes at all, is going to vote for Trump. But the mindset is really, really interesting, right? Here, I want you to imagine, this is really fucked up, but imagine the last news image you saw of a child that the IDF killed in like Gaza or Lebanon or whatever. I want you to imagine that. I'm sorry, but imagine it. While Asmongold is saying all of that. Assuming he is in reference to that child, or making excuses for the death of that child, right? Like justifying it. Because his logic is that 13-year-old or whatever, buried in rubble, you're probably imagining, he, you know, the culture, it was bad, you know, oh, they want to destroy Western civilization, you know, oh, Israel's fully in their right to do that, you know? Listen, as you know, I fully engage with the nuance in the discussion that Israel has a civilian population that's also under attack, but that will never, ever, 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 ever justify Israel and the IDF's attack on civilian populations themselves. Two wrongs don't make a right. We learned this in kindergarten. It's simple shit. It's real simple shit. It's literal kindergarten morality. People should have figured this out a long time ago. Anyway. War Penguin, thank you so much for the tier 1 gift us up to Lefty Jenna. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thank you for the $5 dues. Says continuing the white genocide. True. True. Thank you. I appreciate the support as always. You guys are very generous. You guys are very lovely. Thank you. I love you all. Yeah, I stopped watching Asmongold about a year and a half ago, around the Amber Heard trial stuff. He stopped playing WoW, frankly. Like, if he still played WoW, maybe I'd, like, check in on him from time to time, but, like, I think he does again. But, God, he just sucks so much now, you know? He doesn't even enjoy WoW anymore and doesn't even pretend to, so what's the point in watching his WoW content when he does do it? It's just him shit-talking it the whole time. Like, he's not the WoW guy anymore. I liked him when he was the WoW guy. His WoW Classic streams, when it first launched, were great. But... WoW players are either literal Nazis or trans femboy autists. Or middle-aged moms. A lot of middle-aged moms. Every guild I've ever been in WoW had a middle-aged mom. At least one. It's very common. Yep, middle-aged women do love WoW. That's why I play it. Look up Asmongold, Dead Rat, Alarm Clock, and Bloodwall. I'm aware of all those things and what they mean. I've watched Asmongold for a long time, okay? I was there when the old magics were written, Witch. Alright. I feel we might as well keep the Trump streak going with this next segment here. Oh yeah, I'm not even saying excuse me for that one. You guys just gotta be impressed by that. That was insane. I charged that one up like a heavy attack. Holy fuck. 6 out of 10? Oh, you can suck my nose, Somera. I burped at almost the exact same time. We are one bazooka horse. Pretty weak, not gonna lie. Oh, you can just eat some grass, bro. Men are gross, lol. Eloise Cole, I'm sorry. I wasn't born a woman who doesn't fart or burp, okay? I'm a man. We fart and we burp. It's unfortunate, but we do these things, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, alright? Sorry. Yeah, we also poop. Women don't poop either. You guys can call us gross, but you guys just got lucky. You have to be born women. Alright. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Well, guys, if you think that I exaggerate when I talk about how bad Trump is, when I say that this election, if he wins, could be the last election ever, then get ready to have any illusion that I over-exaggerate how bad Trump is completely dashed into the wind. Trump goes full dictator with threat to turn the military on U.S. citizens. Donald Trump now wants to use military force against people who oppose him. With less than 30 days on the clock, Donald Trump's full attention is geared towards Election Day, but the specifics of his vision are veering onto dangerous territory. Speaking with Fox News' Maria Bartiromo on Sunday, the Republican presidential nominee claimed that the real Election Day issue is the enemy from within. As he said, the enemy from within. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, Trump said, deflecting Bartiromo's baseless question that the Chinese immigrants in the country, or rapists as they said, would interfere in the outcome of the election. Quote, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country, by the way, totally destroying our country. We have some very bad people, Trump continued. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think and it should be easily handled by, if necessary, by the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen. So Donald Trump seems to have started fumbling and looking for words to say because he got caught up in a question that was already a baby gloves question, and then accidentally admitted he wants to use the National Guard or military on people who he considers terrorists because they're on the left. They oppose him.
Let's remember, you've got 50,000.
Here, let me stop the music so this doesn't overpower it. Also, I should probably boost the volume here because this is quiet, man. Can I F11 that shit? Yes, I can.
Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years. Yeah. You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists. Right. What are you expecting? Joe Biden said.
So this is not a thing. Like, this rash of quote-unquote Chinese rapists and terrorists is not a thing. This is just a new anti-immigrant talking point. For those that don't know, immigration is one of the strongest points that Trump has. Whenever I bring up this data, I get people in chat who actively, like, it's so depressing to learn this is true. People in chat don't want to believe it and deny it. But over half of the country agrees with Trump's idea that we should have mass deportations of quote-unquote illegal aliens. We are closer to more of the country agreeing with mass deportations than with an open border. That is where the American people are right now. So it's why the Democrats have had to pander so much to like anti-immigrant sentiment in a way. When you look at some of their rhetoric, it doesn't seem as aggressive towards the Republicans' anti-immigrant sentiment as you would expect. It's because the people want that anti-immigrant sentiment. You cannot win the election unless you are running on stricter immigration. Then again, though, here's the problem with that, though. It's not that simple. While yes, in general, the American people trust Trump more on immigration, when questioned further on their ideal immigration situation, their answers are unhinged. What I mean by that is the same like 40% or something bracket of people that say they want like mass illegal like immigrant massive like deportations, they also say they want it to be easier to apply for legal immigration. And they want the process to become legally immigrated into the country to be easier. So the American people have a very bizarre, in some cases, very lenient against immigrants, and in some very harsh and in line with Trump list of beliefs. But in general, on the polling, they side and trust Trump more. And it's why Trump is heavily going to push on the immigration topic up until Election Day. And so now they've come up with, no doubt, a new Haitians eating dogs level conspiracy about China now, because what better combination of things for Trump to run on in the last month of the election? China combined into one super conspiracy to ride him till the election. Let's see if it works.
That he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying
the enemy
our
from within.
The towns, the villages, they're being inundated.
The towns and villages.
I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
When I say that we cannot let Trump get elected, and it's not a matter of, hey, well, my principled vote for the Green Party, it's that Trump is going to turn assault rifles on you if he gets elected. You may be executed by the National Guard or military. Who fucking knows? We'll see if they decide to follow orders or not if Trump gets elected, because these are things he's promising, and he has no re-election to worry about. It will truly be dealing with a Trump unleashed if he wins. I hope you guys who plan not to vote for Kamala Harris are excited for it, because that's what you want. Just a reminder, you're voting for more than just Trump. Yeah, you're voting for more than just to keep Trump out of office. You're voting also for the positive policies that Kamala Harris is running on. Don't forget that. Kamala Harris is also very accomplished in her time as vice president with Joe Biden, as is Joe Biden himself, and Kamala's policies are very, very good. I mean, we're literally dealing with the most pro-union, pro-working class administration in American history. I've gotten people in the comments who've gotten mad at me for saying that. Once again, I love when people get mad at me, and they're the thing they get mad at me for, like, blatantly reveals they don't follow, like, anything that the current administration is doing. When they get mad at me for saying things like the current administration has been more aggressive against climate change than any other, or more pro-union than any other, and it's like,
no, they haven't. None of my favorite lefty figures have said that. You must be lying.
It's like, okay, yeah. You're the type of person who I want to upset with my takes. Anyway, Last week, Steve Bannon's temporary War Room substitute host, Natalie Winters, vowed that Trump's post-election post-election retribution tour will involve prosecuting his enemies for treason, including some members of his former administration, such as retired U.S. Army General and former Joint Chief Chairman Mark Milley. For those that don't know, Mark Milley is the one who came out recently and said that Donald Trump is a fascist to the core and a danger to the country. Donald Trump recently said he wants to prosecute him for treason because he criticized Trump. Mind you, Trump ran in 2016 while simultaneously saying he's the free speech guy on the policy of making libel and slander laws stronger, such that it would be easier for him to sue people for accurately reporting the shit he says. Mind you, that is completely on the table. Also, hey guys, look what show is being advertised in the little side thing. Woo! Hell yeah. New episode went crazy. Anyway, and Trump himself has leveraged the authoritarian rhetoric before as well. Speaking with Fox News' Jeanine Pirro in September 2020, Trump warned that he would use force against Democrats if they chose to protest in the streets following his potential win on Election Day. That's right. If you protest Trump's getting elected, not pulling a Jan 6th, mind you, simply the First Amendment right to protest, which is you are allowed to protest the outcome of the election. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if you're a Trump supporter that is mad you lost, you're allowed to protest the outcome of the election. That is completely fine. Your right to do that is protected, and should be protected, and will be protected if that happens. But Trump is vowing to turn the military on people who protest his election. No freedom of speech allowed when Republicans get elected. Freedom of speech gets to exist under these people for as long as it serves them and only as long as it serves them. You guys remember the paradox of tolerance, right? If a society becomes tolerant of intolerance, then the intolerant will gain a control of society, and that tolerance itself will be destroyed. A society that's too tolerant of anything, of everything, will eventually be intolerant as fuck. That's just how it goes. You gotta be intolerant against intolerance. Look, it's called insurrection, he continued. We just send in, and we do it very easy. I mean, it's very easy. I'd rather not do that because there's no reason for it, but if we had to, we'd do that and put it down within minutes. So Donald Trump says that if you protest his getting elected in the streets, then it's insurrection. But January 6th, not insurrection. Yes, this is exactly the level of honesty that Republicans and conservatives operate on. They know what they're doing. Trump knows what he's doing, and they absolutely adore the fact that you recognize what they're doing. They love that you know what they're doing. They love it. That's why chuds do the DreamWorks smile at lefties all the time. It's because they know that lefties know what they're doing, and that the general audience doesn't and is falling for the bullshit, and that's why they love to hit you with that smug smile, you know, the Ben Shapiro smile. Trump and his cronies want to go full Handmaid's Tale with Project 2025. This isn't even part of Project 2025. This is just something that he has just thrown out there as of today as a promise if he gets elected. Absolutely insane, dude. Absolutely fucking wild that this is where we're at. I think we might actually have a video here on this. Yeah, Trump suggests military action against enemy from within during Fox News interview. Yeah, the reaction to this has obviously been exactly what you expect. People are quite shocked.
Harris is warning voters about a new phrase Donald Trump has been using to describe some of his fellow Americans.
It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have.
So this is his new talking point, as you can tell. This is a whole different speech, too. The enemy from within is what he's now calling anyone who doesn't support him. He's literally running on, a day of the rope for all non-Trump supporters. That is genuinely where we're at. He is standing in front of a wall that says, "Deport illegals now." Text Trump. What, to, report the nearest suspected illegal?
Have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
The enemy within. Trump used the phrase again in an interview with Fox News yesterday when he was asked whether he expects chaos.
The enemy from within thing is literally straight out of Hitler's handbook. Yeah, the Jewish backstabbing thing, right? Like the Jews are in our country, they're destroying it from within. Literally Hitler's playbook. It really is wild how effective everything about the Nazi Party's rise to power is in America, even in the modern day. And that's like completely putting aside the fact that Americans would elect Hitler's ghost if they knew for a fact that he would make gas like $2 a gallon cheaper forever. Like they would do that in an instant, in a heartbeat. Landslide Hitler ghost victory.
On election day from outside agitators.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated.
The villages.
But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day.
To be fair, he literally means the place called the Villages in Florida. That's literally Trump country. Like 98% Trump supporters in that giant gated community that's literally the size of a city.
The problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. It should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
All right, our panel is back. Matt Gorman, he's saying that these people should be handled by the National Guard or the military. I think we've learned a lot about whether or not we should believe Trump when he says things, which is to say he is to be believed. We're at the point where he's...
Who remembers when Trump was going to be sworn in? He had won and we were waiting for his inauguration. And there was this time where people who did not like Trump were talking about how awful his presidency could be. And you had like the centrists, the reasonable centrists saying, well, let's give him a chance. Let's see how he does. How bad can it possibly be? And then COVID happened. A situation that now there's really no doubt among like any of the experts that Trump was one of the worst handlers of the pandemic of any world leader on the planet. Literal like dictators handled the pandemic better than Trump did. Like countless Americans died. Like a lot of Americans died. Like to the point where I think we're counting the amount of Americans dead per day in 9/11s. Because like what else can you get Americans to care about people dying with than comparing it to 9/11? 9/11s of people were dying each day from COVID just in America. That was an outcome that if you suggested could even possibly happen before Trump got sworn in, people would call you insane. Genuinely insane. The left was actually kind of expecting how bad a Trump presidency would be. Like the left was actually underwhelmed or like you could actually argue overwhelmed and like did not expect Trump to be as bad as he really was. But all the while, the expectations of how bad he was, despite being so much less bad than how bad he ended up being, were constantly called crazy back then. Imagine how bad he would be in a second term where no matter what happens, he doesn't have to worry about getting reelected. Truly a Trump that has no reason to keep his own voters happy and to make sure they're safe and okay. Like, genuinely nothing to lose anymore. It's a scary thought.
He's saying, I'm going to use the National Guard and the military to take my political enemies out of the country?
I didn't take it like that because I watched the clip and they also referenced Biden's comments about Biden worrying it not being a peaceful transfer of power. And earlier in the clip, Trump referenced that too. The way I took it was that obviously, as we know, there are riots in the wake of 2020. There was also riots on Inauguration Day, much smaller scale in D.C. in 2017. I took it as National Guard and military putting those down and controlling those, which I'm totally fine with. I wish that would have been happening on January 6th. That's how I took it, because the clip was a little broader in terms of post-election day and referencing Biden's comments on that.
Is that how you took it?
No. And I think it's funny to watch the Trump surrogates twist themselves into pretzels. I'm not talking about you specifically, but we're going to watch them all twist themselves and say a version of what you're saying. I think people know what his character is and this is to be expected. I don't think he's saying anything that he doesn't believe to be true and that he wouldn't actually do if...
I love that, yeah. Immediately getting called out for his attempt to say Trump's just playing 5D chess here. This has been the defenses of Trump since like 2015, 2014 of like, oh, you got to understand with Trump, you can't actually take what he says seriously. You got to understand when he says something really awful and blatantly the case, you have to understand what he really means is something he totally didn't say that's actually okay. And it's only okay. We only treat Trump like this because he's Trump. But if Biden like misspeaks, then it's the end of the world, you know? Like it's that kind of situation with these people. Like Trump saying something stupid or like dropping the mask is 5D chess, or you're just misinterpreting him, and if he didn't mean it, but if he did, then he meant it this way, and if he didn't, then he's actually correct, and if he wasn't, then it's actually understandable why he'd be incorrect, and if it's not, then there's always just the goalpost moves and moves.
If he could do it.
I think here the facts are that Donald Trump and one of his closest advisors, Stephen Miller, have made clear over the course of months, if not this entire year. They have said that whenever Donald Trump sees fit, he will invoke the Insurrection Act and use National Guard and use military to go into American cities, not just to potentially round up migrants, but to crack down on American citizens. And there is no, the Insurrection Act, I've talked to legal experts and military experts about this, the president can use it at his own discretion, his or her own discretion. They can decide when a situation they think warrants it. And so there's no real safeguard or accountability for the president to be able to use that power, which is why there's a big concern. I think when we also talk about what Donald Trump is saying in terms of how he would use this presidential power, we should also think about what Mark Milley recently was found to be saying in Bob Woodward's book, which is that he considers a former president a fascist who has authoritarian leanings, who is someone that will totally disregard.
A fascist to the core and the greatest danger to this country was the exact quote. It stuck with me because it's just so well worded and so to the point. I love it.
The rule of law when it comes to using the military or the National Guard against American citizens or migrants.
Well, I will say, Alex, when you look at what the Harris campaign is doing lately, if you watch, and again, it's always important to pay attention to what a campaign is actually spending money behind, they're doing negative ads on this.
Absolutely, and that's a big shift from what they were doing in August, which was really biographical, pro-Kamala Harris ads. They are now actually back to where the Joe Biden campaign was back in June, which is very much focusing on Donald
Probably
Trump's
important.
on just making this election a referendum on Trump. One extra thing I will add is I can tell you, people in the Harris campaign inside
the big problem is it feels like a lot of people are not going to vote for Kamala Harris because they're convinced Kamala Harris's policies are good, even if they would love every policy because they're not willing to engage with it, excuse me, and find out what the policies are because it's boring to like read a policy page. A lot of people that are going to vote for Kamala Harris that wouldn't have voted for Biden are going to vote for Kamala Harris because she's Kamala Harris. They're going to vote for her because she's not Trump and she's not Biden. So it is probably smart that we move away from the here's why Kamala Harris is so good thing, because it needs to be more about like, okay, here's why Trump is so bad, and even if you don't like Kamala Harris or think you like her, here's why you should just do everything you can to keep Trump out of office, because, yeah. I feel like that is probably the best angle at this point, to be honest.
Biden White House do actually have legitimate private fears of a Trump Justice Department going after them. If Trump were to win, there's a feeling that, even if no charges come, that a lot of people are like looking at their bank accounts, being like, can I afford a big lawyer?
There are some Republicans who also are afraid of that, by the way, like Republicans who have now endorsed Harris that are worried that if Trump were to win, he would potentially go after them.
Yeah, J.D. Vance was out on the Sunday shows kind of trying to explain all of this. I mean, as he has found himself in this position, but here's what he tried to say about whether or not Donald Trump would prosecute his political opponents if he's reelected. Watch.
Would Donald Trump go after his political opponents? He suggested that in the past.
Are we going to get another situation where Donald Trump says something very blatant and stupid and his fans cheer, but then Vance tries to say something more moderate and it makes all the Trump supporters go like cringe because they see him as a pussy, and then like Democrats obviously don't get appealed to by what Vance says because it's still too radical and right wing? Is that what we're going to get another example of? I love it when Vance accidentally like destroys him and Trump's own thunder by like undoing or trying to undo and damage control for something Trump said that's bad. That is why his supporters like him.
Martha, he was president for 4 years, and he didn't go after his political opponents. You know who did go after her political opponents? Kamala Harris, who has tried to arrest everything from pro-life activists to her political opponents.
He said those people who cheated will be prosecuted
as a weapon against.
Once again, just lies. Just blatant lies. We've fact-checked this guy countless times to the extent where he will lie about numbers, where it's like, oh, there are 12 million illegal immigrants in this country. Turns out there's a little over 5 million. Like that kind of situation. He's just a blatant liar. If he gets a number and it's too low, he'll double it and add a little more and report it. And when people challenge him on it, he'll just say, I don't care about your left-wing Jewish media numbers. He doesn't say that, but that's what he means. That's what he's kind of like vaguely referencing. You know, a lot of the conservatives lately, when you bring up the data that counters what they're saying, they basically JQ. They basically say, yeah, leftist agenda, some cabal has corrupted the data, you can't trust it. Only what I've heard from Fox News can be trusted.
People. Well, he said that people who violated our election laws will be prosecuted. I think that's the administration of law. He didn't say people are going to go to jail because they disagree with me. That has, in fact, been the administration and the policy of Kamala Harris, Martha.
He literally said that he will send the military and National Guard against anyone who protests his getting elected. Something that is completely not illegal, legal, literally constitutionally protected. You're allowed to protest the outcome of the election. You're not allowed to storm the Capitol to do it, but you're allowed to protest.
So, of course, he said there, Alex, that Trump was president for 4 years. He didn't go after his political opponents. The reporting that we know now from these books is that, well, it wasn't for lack of trying. It was because there were people in his government who said, you can't do that.
Trump literally ran on lock her up. Trump ran on the idea that if he won, he was gonna arrest Hillary and get her locked up. Didn't work because she didn't do anything that he could actually act on. It was all just like campaign bullshit. But he ran on the idea of imprisoning his political opponent in 2016. People were cheering for it. It's what people wanted. People liked that about him. And now they're trying to project that onto the left because everything that Trump does that they like, if the left did it, they would see it as, oh, another example of the left being evil, right? Because Trump is graded on a curve.
Right, and it's completely ahistorical what he is saying. There's been tremendous amounts of reporting, not just in books. The New York Times had a piece also very recently that really went through. Also, you can just look at his Twitter feed from back then when he was calling on Jeff Sessions to prosecute X person, Y person, etc. So, you know, it just is not. I understand he's trying to do a political answer, but it's just not historically right.
All right, with us now, senior political commentator and Democratic strategist Paul Begay.
Yeah, that's all we probably need to see about it anyway. But yeah, like, this whole situation really just goes to show how dangerous Trump's win will be. I don't know how else I can I don't know how else I can get across to you guys how big a deal it is that you go and you vote for Kamala Harris. Vote early if you can, too. Please, vote early if you can. The earlier you vote, the more likely you are to have your votes actually count, you know? Because there is a certain point in which they do stop counting votes, and there are votes that go uncounted to count, like, as part of the overall, like, outcome. And you just get your votes in early so they get counted quick, okay? We want to know this outcome of the election as fast as possible. Don't slow down the situation by being one of the billion fucking people, not really, but it's more like 250 million people, that, or no, it'd be like 1/3 of a billion, right? That vote on election day, okay? It's like over 100 million people are going to vote on election day. It's going to be pretty wild. Apparently there's already like over 10 million votes have come in. So things are looking crazy. Thankfully, Kamala Harris is winning in general so far based on early voting and mail-in ballots, but those always lean Democrat. So we're going to have to see what happens when election day comes and people go to the polls and take the day off and they cast their ballots in mass, at large, right? Anyway. If you enjoyed this segment, found it fun or entertaining, or educational, then please consider dropping a like. It really does help a lot. Every thumbs up boosts my content in the algorithm and helps new viewers see my stuff and potentially subscribe. It really does help a ton and means a lot. Consider commenting down below as well to kind of enhance that benefit too. And you can also subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video. Finally, if you want to follow my social medias to see more from me on other platforms, you can do so. And you can also subscribe, ring the bell icon, wrong thing. You can also subscribe, gift a sub, or donate on my website, xanderhall.com/live, if you want to financially support me. The same goes for YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, and buying merch, the Streamlabs link down below. Oh my god, my nose is running. I hate it. And of course, you can also, if you want to, if you feel so inclined, join my fan Discord, totally free, link down below, main hub of my community, and I also announce all my new uploads and streams there, and I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties. But with all that said, regardless of how you support me, whether you're just lurking, or you dropped a like, or you donated, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again, and have a good one. Guys, my nose is running. I hate it. I left my window open so it would get nice and cold in here, and it's making my nose run. And since I have to use the restroom anyway, I'm just gonna go use the restroom and blow my nose, so I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I won't be gone long. I hope you guys like that segment, though. Man, I hope I'm not getting a cold or something with that nose drip. It was like I had a bit of a runny nose, and my right nostril had like a drip that was like slowly working its way to the nostril itself, and I was like, no, 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 no. We're okay now, though. I have returned. Xanderhall, if anyone needs hopium, Republicans' messages leaked and they're losing in their own internal polls. Maybe could be a segment next stream. Yeah, I already talked about it on stream today. It's not a whole segment-worthy thing, but I showed that. All right. Oh, you did? Must have been making food? Yeah. Yeah, you probably were. It's all good. Yo, Pepper T21, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thank you, thank you. The same goes to... Skull Rose, thank you for the $5 super chat. Really means a lot. Thank you so much. Sorry I couldn't get to that right away. It's just during segments. I don't read donos because I don't want to break the cadence. Thank you so much. Says, if Adam's dink is a flamethrower, what does that make his bunghole? That might be too off context from what we were talking about for me to remember what that's in reference to. But thank you for the $5, and, oh, you mean Adam Smasher. I remember now. His dick. Okay. His butthole would be a cannon that shoots mortars. I hope that pleases you. I hope that answer gives you what you wanted to know. Anyway, thank you for the $5 as well, Pepper T21. It really does mean a lot and helps a ton. Thank you, said When I said sounding like Vosh, I meant my poorly worded Pokemon comment. That's why I was apologizing. Yeah, in reference to the horse thing. Yeah, I know. Thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the meme as well. Let's check out this meme. Let's see what this is about. Update the dono goal 2 to reflect your generosity. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Keep knocking my vape over. And oh my gosh. It actually did something. When I hit the down arrow key with my knocked over vape, and it knocked the number down to a 44 instead of a 45. I knew one day that knocking over the vape and it hitting my keyboard every time is going to do something annoying, and it finally did. Anyway, what is this?
McQueen flashes nipples. Let's say hypothetically you meet an anthropomorphic car who's famous for racing. It'd be important to know whether or not he's exposing his calcium cannons to you. In Cars 1, there are two cars named Mia and Tia who flash their headlights, which is supposed to parallel flashing in our world in which women or men expose their milkies. The security guards pushing them back confirms that this is indecent exposure and that they have bared their yiddies to Lightning McQueen. Now in the first film, it's revealed in a Rusty's promotion that McQueen's nips aren't real and that they're actually just stickers. But in Cars 2, before he races against his rival Francesco, he gets some headlights installed. Usually he has a pose where he flexes a sticker on a person and says his catchphrase ka-chow. But in this film, Lightning McQueen is seen flashing a headlight at a party and a second time when he beats Francesco, meaning just like Mia and Tia, he's been exposing his breast every single time. So yes, Lightning McQueen flashes his nipples. But the true question is, if the headlights are boobs, does that mean everyone has their yiddies exposed at night?
Yeah, because why wouldn't you? It's dark. Also, the joke is that they were flashing him. So yeah, if you... I think it's implied that if you flash some... Jesus, YouTube Short sucks. My understanding is if they flash their lights, then that's flashing. Like, that's the joke, right? So yeah, I guess that does work. That does in fact work. Alright. Let me bring up the next segment, huh? Let's get to it. Let's Hawk Tua on that thing. I'm sorry. Wow. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Well, guys, I don't really talk about this topic all that much, though I kind of do, but not as much as I probably should, mostly because it's just so depressing, and the conversation is so in need of nuance, and when you try to talk about it with nuance, people get mad at you because it's like a big culture wedge issue, and people do that on those culture wedge issues. And this is one of the few situations in which there actually is nuance to what's going on. The right has kind of gotten so insane these days that there's no nuance in politics anymore. It's literally black and white. Like the Republicans and the GOP and the things they support and stand for are literally just evil now. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like Trump is promising to defund all public schools that require vaccines as if that's something America needs. This is just evil. It's just evil. It's just using ideology to hurt people so that you can look like you got a win from the people with the ideology you want to support you. Now, when it comes to Israel, though, it is actually a nuanced issue. Not about whether or not Israel is right to do the war crimes they're doing, particularly against children and the infrastructure of those that they're, in conflict with. There's no nuance to that. It's completely wrong. What I mean to say is that a lot of people talk about it like Israel is just randomly swinging at everybody in the room for no reason. Like, if you ask a lot of people who are, against Israel, they do seem to genuinely think that. And I want to be very clear. I am very aware that there are innocent, good people who are just civilians in Israel who are absolutely under attack by Iran and Hamas, and there's plenty of other parties that frankly want to kill everyone in Israel, particularly the civilians. When Israel gets attacked, it's usually the civilian population, and while the Iron Dome and other defense systems that have been built are pretty good at diverting those attacks and preventing civilian death in Israel, they aren't perfect, and they're getting less perfect by the day. So, civilians are innocent on both sides of this thing. And that's important to keep in account, right? You've got to remember that Israel does have a population that is regularly attacked to the extent that people die, and there is a need for their government military to protect its people. But what they're doing is far from protection. What they're doing is, well, let's just read this story, and I think it'll get across what I'm talking about pretty clear here. Like, there's a very, frankly, thick line between defending your civilian population and what led to this. 40 countries strongly condemn Israeli attack on UN peacekeepers. At least 5 members of the UNIFIL peacekeeping mission have been wounded in South Lebanon in recent days. 40 countries contributing to the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Lebanon on Saturday condemned recent Israeli attacks on the mission and called for an investigation of the incidents. At least 5 peacekeepers in the mission, known as UNIFIL, have been wounded in recent days amid escalating violence in southern Lebanon after Israel launched a ground invasion against the Hezbollah militant group. The 40 countries said they strongly condemn recent attacks on UNIFIL peacekeepers, according to a statement issued Saturday. Quote, "Such actions must stop immediately and should be adequately investigated," they said. Quote, "We consider UNIFIL's role as particularly crucial in light of the escalating situation in the region," the country said in the statement, which was published on X by the Polish mission to the UN. You know what's crazy about this? This is once again another situation in which Netanyahu and Israel's government are almost pure reflections of Russia and Putin. This really reminds me of when Dylan volunteered to do aid work in Ukraine. Dylan Burns, if you guys don't know who that is, he is a lefty Twitch streamer who has focused heavily the last few years on on-the-ground coverage of the war in Ukraine. A lot of this coverage he has put his life in pretty serious danger to produce. And so he is very dedicated to his reporting, and that's obviously very deserving in respect. Now, he also volunteered for aid work. And after the Russians bombed a dam in, I forget which region it was. This was like a year ago, so I've forgotten a lot of the areas and stuff like that. I apologize. But if you've kept up with it, then you might know what I'm talking about. Russians bombed a dam. This entire low-lying town that was reliant on the dam holding back water to keep it from flooding proceeded to flood. A lot of people had already evacuated Cherson, thank you, or Kherson. A lot of the people there had already evacuated because the region was under constant Russian attack, which meant a lot of them had to leave their pets behind, unfortunately. And those pets were now being left in houses and on porches and cages and tied up to, like, posts as a massive flood came in to this town. So Dylan was going in to help people who were still there evacuate, and mostly evacuating pets. It was mostly evacuating pets. Russia proceeded to multiple times, by the way, this has happened not just this time, but multiple times, straight up airstrike Dylan's position. One of the volunteers that Dylan was working with was literally hit and had to be taken in for medical care before they bled from their gut due to shrapnel. It hit that close. This really does remind me of that, and how Russia then lied and said that that was a combatant team, despite the fact that everyone knows those were unarmed volunteers and journalists. Russia just says, nope, no, we were attacking combatants. Nope, they were combatants. They just deny it, because who cares? Like, it really is just almost one-to-one Russia and Israel, isn't it? The statement also urged, quote, the parties of the conflict to ensure the security and safety of the peacekeeping personnel so that they can continue their work of mediation and support for peace and stability. Spain, France, and Italy had already slammed the attacks. Now, here's the thing. Here's another part of the nuance, though. It's not as simple as Israel is just trying to defend its people. You might interpret me saying Israel has to defend its people from the attacks they receive as that, but that's not what I'm saying. What Israel's doing is not adequate defense. It's not. They are outright on the attack in such a way where, like, to be fair, Netanyahu and a lot of the nationalists in Israel want to annihilate their enemies. They want to genocide their enemies. They want to. They want to genocide the Palestinians in Gaza, for example. Like, it's not as simple as there is valid reason for Israel military action for the purpose of defense. While they do have that justification for a defense purpose, they're using that justification to go so far as to push their personal desire for straight-up genocide, because there are absolutely parties involved in Israel here who want and are trying to achieve genocide. The Israeli nationalist movement absolutely wants that. UNIFIL said that its facilities have been repeatedly hit and that Israeli forces had deliberately fired shots at the mission's headquarters in the town of Nakura. The fact is, Israel doesn't like the UN peacekeeping missions because they don't want peace. Israel wants to have these attacks as an excuse to wipe out groups that they consider inferior and on their land. Israeli nationalists are basically Nazis. They're just Jewish. Like, there's not much to say there, you know? Like, nationalism is evil no matter who practices it. Breaking news, I guess. Israeli forces asked UNIFIL to withdraw from some of its positions, but there was a unanimous decision to stay in the area. UNIFIL spokesperson Andrea Tenenti told AFP on Saturday. On Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu urged the UN peacekeepers in South Lebanon to evacuate the region immediately because he doesn't want them to be bringing peace, of course. In a video statement, Netanyahu told UNIFIL to move its personnel out of harm's way because they're the harm, claiming that their presence in the region made them hostages of Hezbollah. And you know what Israel likes to do to hostages? Israeli tanks later Sunday destroyed the gate of a UNIFIL base in Ramya and forcibly entered, leaving after 45 minutes, according to a statement by the UN mission. Israeli forces then fired several rounds 100 meters from the camp, causing skin irritation and gastrointestinal effects in 15 peacekeepers after smoke entered the base, it said. I don't think that, like, the gun smoke was making 15 people, like, so sick that it was, like, a huge deal. But, like, yeah, everything else here that's been described has been, like, beyond the pale, obviously. UNIFIL was established as an interim force in 1978 to confirm Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon and help restore peace in the region. In 2006, so this entire, like, group has roots back to something that like Netanyahu and Israeli nationalists would hate, which is the idea of bringing about peace in the region and not allowing Israel to do genocide if their nationalist parties want to do so. In 2006, when war broke out between Israel and Hezbollah, its mandate was expanded to monitor the cessation of hostilities and support the Lebanese army. The force counts more than 10,000 troops drawn from 50 countries, as well as about 800 civilian staff. Dude, did you guys see the, I can't show it on stream. That's the thing. Did you guys see the footage coming out of Lebanon? Of what Israel did to civilian populations that they've been striking? It really stuck with me because it looked a lot like a modern iteration of what the eruption of Mount Pompeii did to the people in the town of Pompeii. Like, the photos are literally one of the photos is of what is very clearly a child that has been burnt to a literal crisp. Like, when I say burnt to a literal crisp, that's why I made the comparison to the people in Pompeii. Like, basically an ash-constructed form of a person. It's really rough. It's really rough to see, but frankly, not much to complain about when there are people who are actually going through it, you know? Like, I don't have much to complain about seeing it when there are people being it, you know? Christ, I know what you mean. Yeah. Listen, it's why this situation is so hard to talk about, because when I talk about the fact that there is nuance and that there are attacks on Israel's population, that Israel has a right and responsibility to defend their populace from, people immediately say, wait, are you making excuses for Israel? When literally everything else I have to say is condemning Israel's war crimes and attempts at genocide, because Israel has a genuine nationalist movement that wants to commit genocide, and that nationalist movement holds a lot of power. One participant in that nationalist movement is Netanyahu. So it's really rough to talk about, because I can't just outright say Israel is evil and should completely withdraw all military action whatsoever, because that's not the case. I don't think the Israeli civilians deserve to die. But at the same time, Israel's not acting in like this altruistic, defensive way. They're using it as an excuse, it would seem, to engage in war crimes. And because nobody is willing to take off the kid gloves with Israel on the world stage that has any real, like, financial leverage over them, they just kind of get away with it. My ass is traumatized by being homeless, but at least I've never lost a family member to bombs. Yeah, Cammy, I mean, like, it's just a reminder that as bad as even, like, the worst of it can be in America, God, there are people in this world that are going through suffering that just... It hurts to imagine that kind of suffering. That's what empathy is, by the way. When I say that, like, kids haven't developed empathy, this is what I mean. Most teenagers and kids don't feel literal anxiety and pain in their stomach when they imagine the suffering that people that exist in this world are going through. Some do, but it takes a while to develop that, and that is what empathy is. That, like, uncontrollable negative feeling that you feel, that sensation you feel when you think too hard about the suffering people in this world are going through that aren't you. That's empathy. And unfortunately, it's what the Republicans lack, and it's what the GOP has, like, utilized, a lack of empathy, which is, frankly, it seems a learned skill these days. They've utilized that undeveloped empathy to build their main fundamental core supporter base. Anyway, there's not much else I have to say about this situation. I just figured I should probably talk about it because it's just another example of Israel being so blatant in their lack of care to even look like they are just trying to defend themselves, and that's it. I figured I ought to talk about it. People have also requested I talk about it, so hopefully you are now educated. If you do feel educated, consider leaving a like, if you haven't already, of course. Every thumbs up goes a long way to boost the channel and the algorithm, no matter what you leave it on, whether it be a video, a VOD, or a stream. It actually forces YouTube to push my content and the algorithm out to more new viewers, and helps the channel grow a lot really quickly, so I really do appreciate it. Every single one counts. You can actually compound that effect of positivity by dropping a comment down below as well. It helps a ton too. And you can also subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because believe me, if you don't do so, they will not tell you. Trust me, they won't. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description. And don't forget to join my fan Discord. It is actually the main hub of my community and totally free to join, and the link to join is down below, mind you, in the description. It is also where I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties every week, and I announce all my new uploads and streams there, so if YouTube ends up bugging and not telling you about my activity on the website, then at least you've got my Discord to tell you, so I hope to see you there. Finally, though, if you feel like helping me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support me, even if you're just a lurker, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again, and have a good one. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. Good segment. I'm glad you guys think so. Thank you. Good seg, good seg. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Based. So yeah, guys, for those that weren't here before, I actually wanted to tell you all, me and Ethan, my editor slash close friend, are currently strategizing a new content release schedule slash strategy. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my streams have been like on the dot consistent for a little while now. Mostly just because I haven't had any bullshit like make my life too hectic and complicated to stream when I intend to. And it's been quite nice, but it's also had the surprising side effect of us having too many backlogged segments, to the extent that segments are releasing and they are like out of date because we've had so many segments that were already set to come out, and now they're like way behind on it, right? And so what I plan to do, and what me and Ethan plan to do, is to set up a system for marking what videos are super topical and need to come out right away, so it's not like delayed. And on top of that, we are considering upping the upload per day count to 4, so that we have a 4th bracket to release segments in. Because right now, with just 3 and the amount that I stream, there's a lot of segments that are just never going to get to be videos and see the light of day realistically, because they're going to be news segments that can't go out with the amount of brackets there are for them for videos to release for days. And at that point, what's the purpose, right? So every 6 hours, we're going to try to see if we can get a video out. We're going to try and test that and see how it goes. It could be a really good method. And of course, that is going to accommodate my stream schedule quite well with the amount of segments I produce to be made as videos. And it should, of course, hopefully help the channel a ton. To upload an extra video per day? Absolutely. It's also not very hard. Editing for my content is not very difficult, at least according to... Did you just try to link me to your Discord? Oh, that's a link to my Discord, I think. Nice, okay. Yeah, it's impossible to keep up with them all, TBH. Yeah, you don't need to watch every video I put out, just the ones that interest you. God damn, how far back am I? Damn, Oxpecker, were you, did you rewind the stream and just, like, watch really far back? It's your Discord? Okay, weird. I clicked the link and I was like, what? I thought it would be like a, an image that was just a Discord link attachment. I hope every Israeli, higher up gets what... No. Scapegoat. Not every single Israeli politician is in favor of genocide. Not all of them are nationalists. There are progressives. You know, Israel's like a country, right? Like it's like a country where they've got political disagreements. It'd be like if America under Trump, if every other country said America and all of its politicians and its people deserve to die. You'd be like, well, okay, hold on. I'm not in favor of what's going on right now. I may be a citizen of America, but I don't like what's happening here. I don't think I'm not part of this. Like, yeah, don't engage in that line of thought. All right. Yeah, Kamina, Seth, no, I do. Yeah, I think, especially with the results we're seeing coming out already based on mail-in and early votes, it looks a lot like Biden and Kamala Harris's supporters have just... I really... If I am going to, even now, give you guys my bet, I think Kamala Harris wins with a pretty strong margin. I think she does. Granted, the right's gotten pretty crazy, and they're hammering on their strongest, most, like, unhinged positions that Americans typically agree with harder than ever, but, man, you gotta, like, people memory hole a lot of the stuff, like, that makes people, like, all it takes is 1 or 2 issues that had a bunch of people decide years ago they were voting for not Trump, right? A lot of people years ago decided they weren't voting for Trump. So what's the point of engaging with politics? They're just casting their vote for the blue candidate when election day comes. A lot of people are like that. So you just keep that in mind. Been a while, Sylvie DB. Damn, Oxpecker. All right, guys. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Well, guys, this is some crazy stuff. I was just the other day sitting at my computer, playing a video game, and out of nowhere, I got hit with like a stray thought that just came out of nowhere. You know, it's been like over a year since you've responded to Blair White. She's one of the most prominent conservative transphobes on the internet, and you haven't covered one of her videos in like a year. And there's kind of a reason for that. I used to cover her stuff a lot since she's still and was one of the most prominent conservatives out there, so she was up there with like Crowder, Shapiro, kind of a regular that you would revisit, right? A lot of reason to cover her stuff. She's constantly spewing misinfo to a lot of people. It's important to fight against. But on top of that, her videos are so annoying and so lacking in arguments that all I end up doing is occasionally she lies and I can like debunk it, but usually it's just her finding usually teenage TikTokers with unconventional styles of dress and presentation, attacking them like 80% for how they look, and the other 20% might go after what they say, but generally I don't even agree with what's being said in those TikToks all that much, even if it's from the left. It's usually genuinely some radical crazy stuff, and I don't disagree with a lot of the things that Blair White might call out in response to it, like as far as arguments go, but she spends so much time bullying and attacking the identity of people that it's like, well, she's just kind of a worthless piece of shit as far as I care. And on top of that, she is a massive liar. I referenced it before, but I should elaborate with an example, a really bad example of her lying. I should say a good one, but no, it's bad. Blair White wanted to respond to a TikToker saying that trans women who have had bottom surgery still need to get pap smears to check for cervical cancer. And Blair White, seeing this, saw an opportunity to very much, like, perfect fodder for her conservative, ignorant audience on this topic, right? Now, what she proceeds to do is take that clip, respond to it with the natural response that you expect from someone like Blair White, which is like, what do you mean trans women don't have cervixes? What are you talking about? You crazy? You think you could... Now these trans people are so desperate to think they're valid that they say they get cervical cancer. Wow. And so she then proceeds to show a, actually, let me bring it up. This is one of her most dangerous and blatant lies. She then proceeds to bring up what she says is a study or an article that actually affirms what she says. And she brings this up, which is pretty interesting. Actually, they've changed the page, I think. Have they changed the page so it's not... Oh my god, there's an article about them changing the page. Because, oh my god. Oh my gosh, March 17th, 2023, the Canadian Cancer Society, the website that Blair White used to lie and mislead, was used for the same purpose again, and the website had to change the layout of their page because people were clipping it to spread harmful transphobic misinfo. Here, let me read this article because it actually tells you exactly what Blair White did, and it was such a big problem that the Canadian Cancer Society had to change and like put advisories on their webpage because right-wingers were clipping it like she did for misinfo so much. The Canadian Cancer Society recommends that trans women get screened for cervical cancer. Missing context. The Canadian Cancer Society advises on its webpage that some trans women who have received certain types of vaginoplasties, also known as bottom surgeries, can be at a rare risk for cancer because of the tissue used in some procedures. Thus, those patients may need to be occasionally screened with pap smears. The organization's guidance makes clear that trans women who haven't had bottom surgery aren't at risk for cervical cancer and don't need to be regularly tested for the disease. The fact: social media users are mischaracterizing the Canadian Cancer Society's guidance on cervical cancer among trans women to suggest that the organization is urging all members of the group to be routinely tested for the disease. Okay, so this is a completely different thing. Blair White showed the first paragraph where they say, where they basically respond to the question of whether or not trans women should get cervical pap smears. under the reference that you wouldn't have gotten bottom surgery. She just shows that and then cuts out the very next paragraph, which says, if you've had bottom surgery, however, you need to get it. So she lies about whether or not trans women can get cervical cancer at all and says they outright can't ever because she wants to push the idea that this crazy TikToker is convinced of some fantasy, biologically impossible thing for the sake of their own, validation of their identity. And so Blair White is not just a liar. She's lied about people and hurt them and had to apologize for it, so much to the extent where she's uploaded, crying YouTuber apologies and then repeated the same behavior. In fact, it's what she's famous for now. She's gone from doing crying YouTuber apologies about misgendering and questioning whether or not trans people are on hormones or whether they're really trans to now it's what she's famous for. So Blair White is really just an evil piece of shit. And I feel it's been just far too long since we've talked about her. So, getting my long-ass intro out of the way, let's take a look at what she's been up to, huh? Her most recent video is Detransitioner tells her emotional story to Blair White. They told me I was a boy. The next one is asking people Trump or Kamala. The next one is the Trump assassination attempt changes everything. We need to talk. And then this just outright doesn't look interesting. I don't even care. I got kicked out of pride for asking questions. Reacting to the most extreme woke TikToks ever made. What should we watch here, chat? What should we respond to? We haven't covered Blair White in forever. What do you guys think we should drop in on here? There's so much to pick from. Asking questions, Detransitioner one, woke TikToks, interview, dealer's choice. The interview one looks interesting, but at the same time, a detransition, you guys realize what responding to this is going to be, right? Detransitioners do exist. There are an infinitesimally small fraction of people who go about any form of gender change, gender identity change. But when they do exist, it's valid for them to detransition if it was wrong for them. So it's just going to be tell your story and then implying that story applies to millions of other trans people, and it's not really ever going to be stated, so there won't be an argument to respond to. It'll just be trying to force you into a situation where you try to deny the experience of this one individual person. It's just going to be weaponizing a single person's story against millions of marginalized people. That's it. Detransitioners are valid, but their grifter arguments aren't. Well, but grifter arguments aren't, not their grifter arguments. My bad. I almost want to watch this asking people Trump or Kamala one. I feel but this one about we need to talk looks appealing too, but it's 35 minutes. Let's watch this one. Asking people Kamala or Trump. We are in the lead up to the election. This is a lot more topical, to be fair. So let's give it a watch. Let's see what this is all about. How's Blair White doing? For those who don't know, last time I saw Blair White, she was fucking Alex Jones or something like that. Mind you, Alex Jones recently got caught with trans porn, so...
Kamala.
Kamala.
Why is that?
I think it's obvious. That's all I have to say. I don't give a rat's ass.
That's a good response.
Kamala.
Why is that?
I can't begin to tell you. Every reason.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
What does she do? What do you think, sir?
No comment.
That means Trump, I think.
What do I want to do? I want the country to stay toxic, okay?
Hey guys, today we're in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, in the midst of probably the most insane election ever. From an assassination attempt on Donald Trump to Joe Biden catching...
There's something about the shoe-on-head Blair White, girl boss brand of conservatism that's just so obnoxious to me. Maybe it's because, ironically, despite being super duper progressive, I'm actually a pretty traditional, dude. I like explosions and, metal brutalist architecture and, camping and cutting down trees and working out and video games, which are a man's thing. I'll hear nothing of it. I'm generally I'm kind of a dude's dude, right? I'm a dude, right? And so there's just something so counter to everything about me about this brand of like presentation that bothers me a lot. And it's not just the girl boss branding and vibe, it's also the memes. A lot of this video isn't going to make any arguments. It's just going to be like sharp editing to use memes and jokes to replace arguments with vibes, basically. The people who watch this are supposed to get the vibe that the Trump supporters are well-reasoned and know what they're voting for, while Democrats and Harris supporters are crazy and insane, and they laugh just like her, and no sane person could laugh like that. Surely someone's laugh is representative of what kind of person they are, not their politics, their policies, what they're running on, what they've said or done, their history, anything like that. Just their laugh. This is the kind of stuff that, like, Blair White viewers are going to vote on if they're old enough to vote. Mind you, Blair White has a large audience of underage young trans kids who go to the internet to find trans figures to look up to, like role models, and unfortunately, the first person they're going to find is always going to be Blair White. Unfortunately, ContraPoints goes into like a 9-month to year-long torpor between uploads. She will never be able to dominate the YouTube algorithm in the modern landscape. Blair White is the trans YouTuber. She is the trans YouTuber. It sucks, but that's the situation. Granted, there are trans YouTubers with more prominence than her, but they don't really do pro-trans content or politics content. So, yeah, pretty fucked situation. Oh, yeah, a lot of trans people in chat right now were young, chuddy Blair White fans when they were figuring out their identity, and they were looking for trans like role models to look up to. She's very prominent, and she almost validates the identity of those that identify as fans of her by claiming, oh yeah, the people that the cis people have a problem with are just trans trenders. We just need to gatekeep the movement, and the normal people will accept us. That's basically her argument. That's what she says, and that appeals to young people who just want to fit in and feel normal, and that's why her audience has such a young lean, and a lot of trans young people.
COVID and dropping out of the race, to Kamala Harris going from one of the least popular politicians to replacing Biden at the top of the Democratic ticket, it's been a shit show. At a time where the facade of corporate media, as well as people's trust for it, is basically dead.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous.
I really like the editing cues taken from Project Veritas. It's very effective. I don't know if you've ever watched like Project Veritas videos. In lieu of any arguments, like I mentioned before, they use sharp editing to give you a vibe. The vibe you're supposed to get from this edit is that they're all being given like talking points and there's no originality. When in reality, let's say there is a meteor coming for the Earth and you believe there's no meteor coming for the Earth, but there actually is one. If all the news stations are saying there's a meteor coming, you can very easily put together a collage of all the news stations saying that, and then like make your little meme where it's like, all right, NPCs, I'm a free thinker. And people will fall for that because they just want to think, that they just want to believe that there's like narratives and agendas out there to get them.
To our democracy. And we're all ideologically segregated by algorithm on social media, it's hard to get a gauge of how this election's actually going to go. I wanted to ask real people who they're voting for, so I went to the White House.
Absolutely hilarious. Blair White's entire career and her income is entirely predicated on the division between Americans online. Like, that's how she makes her living. Hell, mind you, by the way, the Democrats have never had a reputation, nor have liberals ever had, besides like when the right tries to push it with the SJW thing before, when their narrative was like the SJWs are attacking everybody. Now they don't even really go about that anymore because they can't find any SJWs to like turn into straw men of the entire left anymore. I don't know why, but they just don't really seem to have it in them these days. And so they heavily lean into this, like, giving you vibes. That's it, you know? I mean, at least Shu knows how see cringe right-winger clips and reacts with, ha, look at this weird fuck over here talking about weather guns, Lamau. Well, Blair's like, I'm not saying there's a weather gun, I'm just asking questions, but gosh, your negative response is evident enough that weather gun. Well, remember, though, guys, Sean Head's an anti-vaxxer. Her, like, alt Reddit account, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe, ended up getting leaked, and she had admitted on her alt Reddit account that she was not vaccinated from COVID and didn't plan to get vaccinated. Like, her husband's like a white nationalist and like a diehard Trump supporter. Okay, like she may not be super duper far right, but there's some weird, bizarre politics going on there that I can't even comprehend. I don't even want to think about it, because thinking about it is like it feels like I'm looking into infinity, and my brain's just not meant to comprehend it. Okay. Opinions that inconsistent and incongruent, just they don't compute for me, you know? Doesn't make sense.
House to do it. And don't worry, unlike the last trans person that was here, I'll keep my clothes on.
Oh,
let's go see what people have to say.
I didn't expect to see titties.
Trump or Kamala?
I would vote Trump.
Well, it was the economy was better than Trump.
100%. Yeah. People can't even afford to live anymore.
There you go. If Trump wins, it will be on immigration and the economy, because Trump did preside over a better economy, even though he had nothing to do with it. So, yeah, that the American people say better economy. Trump gets my vote. Simple as that. Like I said, guys, they would elect Hitler if it meant they knew gas prices would be, if they thought it meant that gas prices would be $2 less per gallon forever. Like, straight up, guys, I don't exaggerate. Americans are happy to accept fascism as long as they're convinced it will help their bottom line, their life situation get better. It's how fascism appeals to people.
I don't think people would expect that. So thank you guys so much for your opinions. Bye, guys. Trump or Kamala?
Kamala.
Why is that?
I think it's obvious. That's all I have to say.
For me, of course, Kamala.
Why is that?
Oh, she is representing the diversity all over the world. She is welcoming everybody, unlike, Trump.
What's your favorite thing she did so far in office?
As a deputy?
As the VP.
As a VP.
Does she know? I assume this is a trick question on her part. The VP doesn't really make policy stuff. That's not the VP's job. Like, the VP is the president of the Senate, but the job of the Senate isn't to make policy. They vote on policy. So this is a nothing question. This is the way that conservatives brainwash and gaslight the average American. The average American doesn't know what the job of the vice president is. So when they see someone ask a Kamala voter, what is your favorite thing she's done while vice president? Of course they're not going to know, because her job is to talk to foreign leaders and to be the president of the Senate. So, like, there is no real answer to that question. She hasn't been president yet. It's a complete trick question, and her audience doesn't know it, but the fact that he can't answer the trick question looks like there's no good reason for even Kamala Harris supporters to support Kamala Harris.
Yeah, whatever she did in order to pass legislations that, respect the diversity, and at the same time working for the welfare of the immigrants.
Mind you, we have a Republican-dominated House, so I'm pretty sure, like, nothing has really been getting to the Senate. Like, a lot of bills have been dying in the House because the Republicans, like, kill these bills. Like, if anything about them is something they don't like. Any funding for welfare or to our, like, allies that are in trouble, like Ukraine, they'll shut down the government over it.
And beside all, that she's a lady. We want to see a woman governing the United States of America.
Man.
Do you think we'd be...
This guy's not doing a great job, and I can see why Blair White included him so early in the video.
less likely or more likely to go to war with a female president?
Yeah, 100% likely. For myself, 100% likely.
Trump or Kamala?
I think that was an English second language moment. I'm going to be real. I don't think he's voting for Kamala and thinks it's 100% likely that we're going to get into war if she gets elected. I don't think that's what he meant, but oh well.
Kamala.
Of course, Kamala.
Why is that?
Sorry?
Why is that?
I'm so big on peace. I'd love to have a country where there are no bullies. We know Trump is a bully.
During Trump, there was no war, no conflict, and we were expecting to see World War III.
A conservative pundit? Oh my God! What an amazing PBD podcast! Oh my God! How can I argue with such a citation? What this is a firsthand source. This is This is just fact, what we're hearing here. You'll notice, by the way, when conservatives show evidence of like why their points are right, they'll usually show a prominent figure agreeing with them. How often have we covered like a conservative anti-woke video on like a game or something, and they show a clip of like Asmongold repeating the take they have as if that's an argument? Because to their audiences, hey, look, doesn't this prominent gaming content creator you statistically probably like is saying the same things I'm saying? You should sub to me too. There's no actual citation here, but they're treating it like one when the real desire is to appeal to a shared audience and be like, oh, I'm saying the same things that your guy is saying, right? Like, this isn't a citation. This is the PBD podcast. Mind you, Donald Trump committed several acts that, frankly, probably should have gotten us involved in war, and the only reason it didn't is because our foreign adversaries decided not to respond with war. Interesting that our enemies like to get into war with us when Democrats are in office, despite the very known knowledge that whatever party is in office when a war gets started with America has a hard time electorally because wars are unpopular after the first 100 days. It's interesting, despite that being very well known in foreign policy, especially among our enemies, they always try to start conflicts with us when there is a Democrat in office, or get us involved in conflicts when there's a Democrat in office. But when there is a Republican in office, they can literally strike top generals of their country and they pretend like nothing happened. The fact is, a Republican presidency may mean less war now because our enemies want the American people to fucking believe it. The fact that our enemies deciding not to attack us back when Trump engages in acts of war does not mean that Trump is like so good at doing war that our enemies just don't fuck with us even when we attack them. That's probably what Trump supporters and the right wants people to believe. The fact is, these countries are biding their time and recognize that a Trump presidency is better than any military retaliation. That's why Putin and Russia invested hundreds of millions in pushing pro-Trump and pro-Russia propaganda among conservative pundits. They paid Tenet Media, Tim Pool, Lauren Southern, Dave Rubin. All those figures were paid by Russia to push pro-Trump because it is in Russia, Iran, all of our enemies' best interest to keep conservatives in power. Good citation, though. PBD podcast, the top tier. This is where conservatives get their information and data.
Under him.
And I will prevent World War III from happening. We will stop it.
The name calling, I'm also...
See, guys, it's actually completely Kamala and Biden's fault that Russia invaded Ukraine. Do you want to know why? Because Trump said if he was president, they would have never invaded because he would be president. And that means that it's Trump and Kamala or Biden and Kamala's fault. Don't even think for a moment about why our enemies don't start shit with us and upset the American populace with war when a Republican is in office. I'm sure that our enemies have absolutely no ulterior motives to not stirring the pot politically in America when Republicans are in power. I'm sure it must mean that Republicans are really bad for our enemies to be in power. It must mean our enemies are terrified of keeping Republicans in office. They avoid doing anything that could harm the Republicans in an election as far as military action goes.
Big on women health. So I'd love somebody who will fight for the women health.
What's your favorite thing that Kamala did while she was in office so far?
So far, I remember she was taxed with what's the name of that thing? I forgot. I'm sorry.
She was taxed with?
God, it's disappeared.
It's okay. It's okay.
It disappeared.
All in all, you're in on Kamala.
Sorry?
So you're in on Kamala?
100%. I'm voting for the first time and I'm going to vote for her.
Okay.
I mean, like, this is really why I found my type of content to be so important, even among Kamala Harris voters. And granted, this is, Blair White has no doubt edited out every person who votes Kamala and gives a good answer, because why would she show the people who she despises and who her entire career is centered around demonizing and making look like idiots? Why would she ever honestly portray them, right? And so obviously, we're not going to see anybody who does a good job representing their position unless they're conservative here. However, I think it's important to point out that there are a lot of even Kamala supporters who don't know necessarily, can't explain the policy that is motivating them to vote for Kamala. Many of them are just voting for Kamala because she's not Trump, right? Now, that's good. And a lot of Americans hell, Kamala might win because she's not Trump, and that's fine by me, whatever means she has to win by. But you can see now why I've been so insistent that I need to make so many videos talking about the achievements of Biden and Kamala Harris and what they're running on and why they are so much better than you might even suspect. Their policies are good. You need to know what their policies are. You don't want to be like these people that Blair White is selectively editing into the video. You don't want to be the kind of person who is voting for Kamala and doesn't really know why outside of Orange Man Bad. Because there's a lot of reasons to just be a Kamala Harris supporter, even if the Republican nominee wasn't Trump. And I think it's important to know those things. I think it's important to cast your ballot for Kamala, not begrudgingly, but with a smile on your face. I want you guys to be happy about it. And that's why I don't regret a bit of my content covering Biden's accomplishments. Frankly, I think the fact I've done so much research on it and paid so much close attention to it has put me ahead a lot of other figures on the left when it comes to arguing with the right. A lot of conservatives seem to have a real big confidence streak here where they'd go in and ask any lefty, any Kamala voter, why are you voting for Kamala? And I don't think they expect to get an answer. I have plenty of answers. Hell, we could start with the one of the earliest policies, which was their infrastructure bill. The biggest infrastructure bill ever in American history. That was one of the earliest achievements. I'm having to dig back far in the memory for that. Biden and Kamala Harris are responsible for, assuming Trump doesn't win, the coal industry is off the table, gone in America by 2035. Just gone. It's done. It's gone. Mind you, that is 20% of our power production is done by the coal industry. 80% of our yearly carbon footprint as a country is coal. We would be eliminating 80% of our carbon footprint by the year 2035. That's certainly not carbon negativity, but holy fuck, that's a lot. Like, That's enough to make you go from thinking it's all Jover to, are we back? It's not quite we're so back, but it's kind of, are we back? You know what I mean? Hell, I could go on. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Well, Kamala Harris's job isn't this. This is Biden's job. So it's a trick question to say, oh, what did Kamala do? But if they're going to say what Biden does reflects on Kamala, then you know what? Biden's achievements reflect on Kamala too. So that's how it works, at least in their view, in their evaluation of the situation, going by their rules. So Kamala Harris is also responsible for the lowering of insulin costs for seniors and veterans. Also, the veterans just got free healthcare expansions due to the massive funding bill that Biden pushed for with the it's not VFW, Veteran Care Association. What's it called, guys? What's the name of the government institution that provides care for veterans that Biden dropped a shitload of funding to, and Republicans, of course, tried to stop? Hell, Kamala Harris and Biden were behind the biggest border security funding bill ever that would have given Republicans everything they claimed to want. They knew the Republicans would block it because it would take away everything they want to run on for the election. And of course they did. And some Republicans, the ones who aren't on the Trump train, like Romney, called it out for explicitly being the Republican GOP as a whole blocking everything they've wanted in the realm of immigration from happening because they don't actually care about achieving these things. They just want to run on them. To an extent, I'm so confident in this, I wonder if a Trump presidency might not be as bad as we expect, in the sense that they have to leave some things to try and run on to the future. But then again, Trump probably plans on there never being another election. So if there is another election and Trump isn't able to destroy democracy in this country, he might not be able to go a lot further because the Republicans are going to want more to run on in the future. They can't, quote unquote, solve all these problems and still have a culture war to fight, right? Once the culture war is won, it's all over. They fall apart. The grift dries up. With how hard Trump runs back to immigration, if that bill didn't get blocked, this election would be over. Really, yeah. If that bill had gone through, I don't think Trump would have any chance of winning. Genuinely. No chance of winning. No chance whatsoever. And as bad as that border funding bill was, as it would have led to mass deportations and stuff in many respects, it would have also overhauled the immigration system to make it way easier to legally immigrate. It did everything that is a popular policy with immigration among the majority of U.S. voters. And the Republicans blocked it for Trump explicitly. Other Republicans called it out, like Romney. Man, I can't watch any more of this, dude. Oh, God. Content creators like Blair White, their success is based entirely on how effective they are at warping the reality that their viewers see. But this is the kind of stuff that succeeds online. The only way you can fight it is by, guess what? Guess what you can do to fight it? Guess what you can do? You can vote, and you can also consider dropping a like on this video, VOD, or stream, whether you're watching it live or after the fact. It really does help a lot. Every thumbs up pushes my content in the algorithm, just like the 28,000 thumbs up this Blair White video has. Really helps a lot. It pushes my content in the algorithm and helps it get into the view of new viewers who might not have watched my content anyway. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even known it existed if you didn't hit that like button. You can also drop a comment to help boost that effect as well. And consider subscribing and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube also tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And of course, consider perhaps following my social medias, linked down below in the description. If you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can also join my fan Discord, linked down below, if you want to be a part of the main hub of my community, which is totally free to join, by the way. I also host weekly watch parties, gaming streams, and call-in streams as well, or gaming events and call-in streams as well. And on top of that, I announce all my new uploads. Oh my god, I can't speak. I've got mush mouth right now. I announce all my new streams, uploads, and videos there as well. So if you don't want to miss anything, even if YouTube bugs out, join the Discord server. It will tell you. And of course, finally, if you feel so inclined and you're feeling generous and you can afford it, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to me on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below if you haven't already, as it does help to keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio. Though regardless of how you support me, even if you're just a lurker, hanging out, not saying anything, I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you again, and have a good one. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out real good. Good segment? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think I'll chill out with you guys a little bit before I start wrapping things up, though. Now, there won't be a stream tomorrow, because tomorrow's my day off, but I will be streaming the day after tomorrow, though I won't be streaming the day after that. Usually I would stream 2 days in a row, but there is a bit of a complication, and I'll have to do this every couple weeks in order to make it such that the watch parties work properly. Now, as you guys know, Friday is unanimously, for like my personal friends and for a lot of the Discord server and the fan base, the best day to do watch parties. Everyone agrees watch parties have to happen on Friday. I think you guys can also agree it is far better when I stream before watch parties. It helps there get a lot more people directly, like, from the stream into the watch party. Watch parties are always better when they're directly after a stream. So, goes to follow, I have to stream on Friday. Now, here's the problem. I streamed yesterday, I streamed today, but if I take tomorrow off and then stream Wednesday and Thursday, that sets me for a day off on Friday. Now, I could stream 3 days in a row to include Friday, but fucking up the schedule, not really a big fan of it as much as I can. I try to avoid that, but also 3 days streamed in a row, I can definitely pull it off, but man, by the third streamed day in a row, I'm kind of phoning it in, it feels like. Like, I'm really pushing myself to find topics that are, like, relevant, to do, like, 4 to 5 topics for 3 streams in a row. I'm also generally kind of, like, worn down a little bit. Just doesn't really end up being as good of content, and I don't like when my content isn't as good. And so, to not, like, enter that zone, what I'm thinking is, obviously no stream tomorrow, but then I stream on Wednesday, and I do a big stream, like a giga stream on Wednesday, but then I take Thursday off, and then stream Friday and Saturday, so that, you know, I stream Friday. But then, like I said, we've got a couple weeks before that ends up being a problem again, and I would have to do it again to, like, make sure I stream on Friday, like, the first week of next month. But besides that, should be all good. Just a minor little tweak to the schedule to make sure it works for me to have streams on the same day as watch parties, which we need to make sure are a thing, right? What's up, Glamorous Frog? If you just got here, I apologize. I'm about to wrap up stream in just a few moments. By the way, chat, I want to say thank you to everybody who's come, but I also want to ask, what country are you all watching from today? I always like to hear. Whenever there's a lot of people in chat, I always like to ask what country everyone's watching from and see how diverse the current audience is in regards to geography. California, Canada, USA, Canada, Freedom Land, aka the USA. Canada again. Poland. Damn, Poland. That's crazy. Austria. Damn. Virginia. Canada. Man, a lot of Canadians in my chat. A lot of Canadians watching my streams. New Jersey. Killingworth, Connecticut. Poland, Oregon. Or Portland, Oregon. USSR. That's not real. Texas. What? Why did Zanbot mute Cammy Whammy? What do you say, Cammy Whammy? The country all the hot chicks seem to come from. Cool. Central Pennsylvania, Yugoslavia. I don't believe that. That's crazy. Southern Ontario, Canada. I've got a lot of Canadians. Ireland. Wisconsin. Turf Island, but half Irish. I'm sorry to hear you're from Turf Island, Glamorous Frog. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Southeastern Wisconsin. Damn, you and Nightmothism are neighbors. Ironland, not Ireland. I don't know what Ironland is, but I'm pretty sure they meant Ireland. Popcorn is life. Pretty sure they meant Ireland. Most Canadians I've talked to are more interested in U.S. politics than their own. Yeah, because Canada is Canada. Nothing's all that serious, you know? Like, Canadian politics, like, calm down. Nothing serious is going on over there. So obviously even the Canadians are locked in American politics, right? Like, obviously. Washington State! Yo, fellow Washingtonian. Welcome. Oh, Ironland is a YouTuber thing. I didn't know that. Isn't Canada doing their own MAGA right now? Yeah, who knows? Maybe Canadian politics are about to get really interesting. That would be crazy if I had to, like, pivot to Canadian politics. No, sadly, America will always be the most interesting and cool, and everyone will always care about American politics the absolute most, so... America number one, America on top. What can I say? I'm telling you, folks, what can I say? America number one, America on top. I'm telling you, it's just the case. Xanderhall, YouTube link. What is this? Ironland?
If you don't like the country you live in, you can join the micronation I started called Ironland. Since declaring this 12-foot circle to be a sovereign nation, Ironland has gathered 30,000 citizens. But some people are saying we aren't a real country. However, the Western Hemisphere operates under the Montevideo Convention, which has 4 criteria for a state to be legit. The first is that it has to have a defined territory. That one's easy, it's just this 12-foot circle. Second, it has to have a permanent population. So I'll go ahead and leave this robot here until we figure out a long-term solution. Third, a real country has to have a government. And my page has a link to a Google form where citizens can vote on a pressing issue. And lastly, a country needs to be able to enter into relationships with other countries, which we just received a real message of engagement from Romania this morning. So that's 4 out of 4 by my count. If you haven't joined Ironland yet, just leave a "For Ironland" in the comments, and we'll go ahead and make you a citizen of this totally Montevideo Convention compliant country.
If that's real, guys, dude, Mother Base might be possible. We should do it, guys. We're going all in, okay? We're gonna get an oil rig that has been abandoned recently, so it's still like pretty well put together, and we're gonna start our own country. It's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a sex cult. It's gonna be a sex nation, chat. Xanderhall, have you heard on Twitter about how Asmongold... Yes, I saw actually. I saw the clip. People in chat sent it to me. I reacted to it on stream. Might do a segment about it tomorrow, or not, the day after tomorrow. Ever hear of Sealand? Evil Rhoda, you know my editor Ethan is a Duke of Sealand, right? Or a Lord of Sealand, sorry. Or no, yeah, no, a Duke of Sealand. Or Knight of Sealand, my bad. A Knight of Sealand, my bad. He is friends with someone who is an official Lord of Sealand, it's not a joke, who made him a Knight of Sealand, and I'm trying to convince Ethan to make me a Squire of Sealand. Yes, I know about Sealand, Evil Rhoda. Yeah. Ideally, we could we could do that. We could have that be Sealand, but unfortunately, it's not in the right hemisphere to have these rules apply. If it did, then I think you could legitimately make Sealand a real country. Also, look into in Canadian policies about Alberta and how Danielle Smith may make LGBTQ plus youth lives awful under her United Conservative Party. Yeah, I need to look into what's going on there in Canada, because I should at least cover it a bit, even if I'm not going to, like, pivot to Canadian politics. Ugh, never. Never. Anyway, guys, I feel like here's a good point to wrap things up. I really do want to say thank you all so much for your support today. Your kind words and just being here in general has been so freaking awesome. I really do appreciate it. Like I said before, no stream tomorrow, but I will be streaming the day after tomorrow, so I really do hope to see you all there. Make sure to mark your calendars if you want to be at stream. And, yeah. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching. I love you all very much, and have a good one. Doo-doo fart.